Joe Flacco has never been more elite. The Pistons lost again, but in dramatic fashion. And I don't know if I think the Chiefs are going to beat Jake Browning. What a sports night it was, and what a next few days it will be. Welcome in to The Zone here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I am Joshua Brisco. Dylan Michaels on the other side of the glass. Usually Jason Anderson would be in this chair, but he's on his way back. He'll be back on Tuesday. We'll all be back on Tuesday as Sterling Holmes will be filling in for us on New Year's Day. But it is myself and Dylan getting you through the last weekday of 2023. And man, we could start in any number of places, but I do think I know where we must begin. It'll be a packed show all day, as usual, on a Friday. Todd Lebo's conversation with Lee Sterling will get you ready for the betting weekend coming up here in about 45 minutes or so. Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest will join us in studio for the 11 o'clock hour. Then we'll talk to Kendall Gammon, the Chiefs legend. I don't think he likes it when I call him a legend, but I'm going to keep doing it because he is one. And then we'll finish out the week with Mick Schaefer. He'll be in studio around 12:30. We'll hear from Andy Reid at some point. Presumably going to get some bad injury news, if I had to guess. I'm just not expecting Isaiah Pacheco to play at this point. I am hoping that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back and everything is okay there because Jerick McKinnon already out for the season. Didn't ever really get more clarification on that. I don't know if that's coming or not. But no McKinnon, probably no Pacheco, no Kadarius Toney if I had to guess. Maybe McCole Hardman is back for this game. But still a lot of moving parts for a Chiefs team that needs to play better football to beat a better team than the one they lost to last week. I mean, they shouldn't lose this game, but they shouldn't have lost last week. They've had a lot of instances where they have played down to the level of their competition, or maybe have played below the level of their competition, honestly. But that's not where we're actually starting today's show. Because for all of the excellence that came from both during and after the game last night, Kansas State wins the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and it was exactly as festive as you would have hoped it would have been. First, you can go on the field and certainly appreciate where this team is headed right now. As we've had the discussions over the last couple of weeks about bowl season, it's so funny. I'm on K-State's ESPN page just to pull up the box score and everything, and the top story is Edible Pop-Tarts Bowl mascot among top bowl season food celebrations. We will talk more about the edible mascot, and I've got, I think, 90% positive, 10% hater takes. That's what I'm going to give you. That's where I'll draw my line. That's a tease. But as we've had these conversations about what you can and can't take from bowl season and the games that are always going to be impacted by things like opt-outs, I still have, and I don't know why this is a spot where I have it, because I have plenty of cynicism that has bled through my sports fandom over the years, but I still have a little romanticism for bowl season. I think it's really fun that if you have a winning season and then win a game at a neutral site with a team you may have not played for a very long time, if you win that kind of random game after a long layoff with 2/3 of your starters actually playing, you get hats and T-shirts and a trophy and the kind of celebrations that come with much bigger accomplishments. I kind of like that. Is that very millennial of me? I love a participation trophy. I don't think that's what it is, but someone probably thinks it does. But I enjoy that in part because so much of sports boils down to one team being happy at the end of the year. And look, Chris Kleiman would have much rather have lost in the college football playoff than won in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I no doubt. I got it. I understand. But when you do still have all of these people, players and coaches, and to some extent fans, putting in as much work as you have over the course of a year, and you can definitely include fans by just saying time and energy invested in a college football season, I think it's kind of fun that half the teams that make it to a bowl game get to celebrate with dunking their coach in Gatorade or potato chips or mayonnaise or whatever we're dumping coaches in now. Pop-Tart dust. I think that's fun, and it's part of the fun of college football that, frankly, not to end up really connecting a whole lot of dots here, but I think as college football, and this is way pre-NIL, but as college football has become more and more professional, it would be reasonable to have some concerns about, like, when does the whimsical magic of college football begin to fade? If it's just professional football, is it just professional football? In professional football, one team is happy at the end of every year. But then I watch a mascot willingly and excitedly lower itself into a giant oversized toaster. So a pastry bearing a close resemblance to said mascot can slide out of the bottom of the toaster, where Avery Johnson and Chris Kleiman can take a fistful of the mascot and immediately consume it. And then I think, you know what? We're going to be okay. You know what? The kids are all right. We're going to make it. Because that's what college football can offer to you in December. The on-the-field takeaways here also exist. You got some real Avery Johnson plays. You saw the glimpses. He had at least that one play that sticks out to me of him rolling out and just absolutely missing a wide-open dude 15 yards downfield. He just threw it like 3 yards short. It skipped. It was ugly, whatever. Those are the things that you hope. Those are the throws you got to make. You create some separation. You end up out on the run. You find a receiver with way more space than he should have had. You have to have that. But I only even mentioned that play, and frankly, I don't know that the box score for Avery Johnson does the actual game justice. He had a pretty quick, I don't even know if it was a quick trigger finger, because sometimes he waited to the last second. He was not afraid to throw a football away to try to survive in advance and live another down, and that's great. For a young quarterback, that's an okay place to be. Dude is talented as anything, and I think that you're going to see those pieces keep coming together as he becomes a more complete quarterback. What this game provides, and I think we talked about this with Jason Bean having it obviously very different in terms of it being his final act as a member of the Kansas Jayhawks, and for Avery Johnson, you hope this is basically the first. I mean, he had plenty of moments this season, but in terms of his first start and when things really began in the, being optimistic here, the quote Avery Johnson era, however many years that lasts, you hope that tonight was the start of that for him. Again, for Kansas, it was, oh man, what a good send-off for Jason Bean. But with K-State last night, I think you could hear it from Chris Kleiman in the post-game on-field festivities, asked many times about Avery Johnson and what he is going to look like for the future of K-State. You heard both from Kleiman and from the broadcast a lot of deserving praise for Cooper Beebe. I don't know that it's the national stage or if it's a Pop-Tart stage or what it is. But what you got yesterday, if you're a K-State fan, is you got to watch your team play one more football game, be the better team throughout it. It got close in a moment or two, but Kansas State was clearly the best football team in the form of those two squads that were out there yesterday. But you got to watch your team one more time. As Kleiman mentioned after the game, you finished the year as a top 25 team, which he said was important to them. But that was a good point. Maybe he mentioned that leading up to the game. I don't know. Maybe that's something they're saying behind the scenes. But you finished top 25. You see your team one more time, which is an appreciation for guys like Beebe and the guys who built the 2023 K-State Wildcats. And you get to drift an eye to 2024, to the future with Avery Johnson. Missing, obviously, not just Will Howard, but several important pieces yesterday. You get to appreciate what this season's been, you get to look forward to the future, and you get to be the team, at the very least in the background, of the most viral moment of bowl season so far. You get to celebrate in a very silly way. And if that's not the exact point of bowl season, I don't know what is. I feel like I am ready to do a Hallmark movie where I vouch for or endorse the true meaning of bowl season. yesterday was the true meaning of bowl season. And more than anything, I got to flip my TV from watching a Pop-Tart mascot, sort of, asterisk, be eaten straight to Joe Flacco absolutely cooking. Got a little halftime Pistons Celtics overtime watch in the middle there. It's fabulous. But all in all, both teams on the Kansas side I have been happy for, and I've enjoyed watching the type of football game they put on in both of their bowl games. Last night, thought K-State acquitted themselves very well and got to accomplish exactly what you want to accomplish in terms of appreciating the guys who have been there, sending them off with a fun, weird win, and then looking forward to the Avery Johnson era and everything that's going to bring with it. So let's talk about the Pop-Tart. It was a perfect spectacle, and I hope that much in the way that we look back on the Roman Colosseum and how that, when you think of that era of human history and what peak cultural entertainment was like in ancient Rome, that's what you think of. I'm sure they were playing some other sports and stuff. That got lost to time. You know what we still have? We still have the Colosseum. So we have some idea of what's going on in there. Not great things. Not great, to be clear. But that's the picture of gladiatorial excellence for an entire era of human history. That's the icon. That's what you think of. And I hope that thousands of years from now, someone finds my tweet of the 4-part story of the Pop-Tarts mascot, fully animated, descending into a giant oversized toaster, holding a sign that, I need to pull my own tweet up, I believe said, "Dreams do come true." Do come true, not do crumb true. That would have been even funnier. Descending into the toaster, and then at the bottom pops out sort of the Pop-Tarts mascot. I'll save my 10% asterisk, hater mode, whatever. But like Roger Sherman, who's been going around the country this year, attending as many 2023 college football games as he possibly can, writing about it and covering everything. He's at Roger on Twitter. He got at Roger. He tweeted yesterday, "I asked if it was offensive to eat a Pop-Tart in front of the Pop-Tarts Bowl mascot, and then its handler yelled out, 'It's their dream!' And then the mascot grabbed the Pop-Tart out of my hand and started force-feeding it to me while making soft grunting noises." What else could you possibly want from the greatest entertainment product in the world? I want to play multiple games with this. One being, what is the next mascot that we need to be able to move into edible form? And also, what is the edible thing that we need a mascot of? Here's the one asterisk. So the Pop-Tart mascot that's been running around all game and everything, it is a Pop-Tart with a face and arms and legs. And if there's any kids listening, I don't want to challenge any of the magic of mascots. But have you ever wondered why Willie the Wildcat has human limbs? I'm just saying. Maybe just ask a question. Why does this Pop-Tart mascot, have human arms and human legs? It's a mystery. No one knows. But it slides in. It's great theater. And then at the bottom, basically like a Pop-Tart cake kind of slides out. It appears to just be on like cardboard. And again, Avery Johnson and Chris Kleiman just getting right in there, celebrating the silly. Chris Kleiman seems like, generally speaking, a relatively serious man. You kind of have to be, I think, to run a college football program. Not a rude dude. I can't remember. I was filling in for somebody a year or two ago and talked to Kleiman for 15 minutes, and it was a great time. Good talker, good guy, but football coach. Another real plus of silly stuff like this, watching tough, serious football coaches break character to gnaw on a giant Pop-Tart. just delightful. It just warms my heart. But it's a little bit of a bait and switch, right? Just a little bit. It's a little bit of a bait and switch. I want the mascot that is running around all game. A tremendous mascot, by the way. Great mascotting work by the Pop-Tart. I want the mascot's costume to be edible. And I know that... Listen, it's hard for a Pop-Tart to stay together in its natural size in and out of a toaster. Much to my blood sugar chagrin, I've eaten 4 Pop-Tarts in the last 2 days. Eggo waffle flavor ones, by the way, excellent. Really solid. Mapley, I need to look at the nutrition label again because the last 2 times I've eaten one of those, just one, not both of them, just one of them. I've taken so much insulin and my body is still like, no, that's not allowed. You should not have done that. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to, it's the Pop-Tarts bowl. My body doesn't understand it. It's fine. I understand that it would have been a terribly difficult challenge to create this large of a Pop-Tart that then could be worn and paraded around. Maybe sandwich board style could have gotten us there. I'm not sure. But I did kind of want to see somebody take a bite out of the mascot that had been, like, you know, fielding kickoffs and stuff all game, taunting the referees, which I do support. I do think every football game should have a designated mascot who just runs around and harasses referees. I think you want referee accountability. If you make a bad call, a Pop-Tart's going to taunt you, I think is probably a pretty good idea. I think that could get it done. And also, while we're at it, I think an Eggo mascot should definitely exist. Give me a waffle mascot. And that might be... Like, structural soundness is going to be a problem for really achieving, like, the ideal edible mascot. How about this? We've talked about the possibility of a Pringles bowl. I think it's their own, it's a Kellogg's brand now, right? I think Pop-Tarts and Cheetos and Frosted Flakes, I think we figured out. That was maybe Frito-Lay. Kellogg's definitely Frosted Flakes. I digress. You could have a mascot Pringles can, and then at the end of the game, the mascot could pour itself out, and then you could just eat its innards like a piñata. I think that should happen. That might be as good of an idea as we come up with. I like that a lot. Because the outside's not edible. But you could just fill you could have a person, allegedly. You could have a person in the costume and then just have an extra 3 feet on top of the costume that's just packed with Pringles. At the end of the game, winning quarterback comes over and puts a shoulder into that mascot. They go to the ground, the lid pops off. Boom, they just lay there. They just lay there on the 50.
No, hang on.
Spilling out.
The winning team's mascot, a la Casey Wolf, comes out of the tunnel on an ATV and then tackles the mascot.
Yes, Dylan. Yes. Imagine Willie the Wildcat charging out, perfect form tackle, obliterating the giant living Pringles can. What's really important to me is that the can hits the ground, the lid pops off, and Pringles come oozing out. Listen, it will be grisly. If you thought that the Pop-Tarts Bowl final scene was a horror movie, wait until you watch a college football team eat the entrails of a Pringles can. We can continue workshopping this. If anybody would like to make their suggestions for either edible mascots or like either way on the pattern, like a mascot that you can make edible or a mascot you would like to, or a mascot you'd like to create from an edible product, you can hit the text line if you want. Jason has text line privileges. I'd have to pop that open. Or you can, of course, also leave your comments on the video feeds across the 810 socials: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Drop them in there, and maybe Dylan will get to lift an eye to the comments every once in a while and see if we get any great recommendations, so we can keep an eye on that. But so far, for the local schools, it's 2 for 2 for me in terms of the fun and the chaos and accomplishing exactly what you want to accomplish in the way that your team caps off a college football season. Now it's Mizzou's turn. I don't think there will be a giant living edible cotton ball or anything tonight, but you can listen to the Cotton Bowl right here on your home for so very much of bowl season. So many football games between all the NFL action and all of the college football, all right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and over on ESPN Kansas City as well. We've got plenty of action going on there. But tonight, coverage starts at 6:30 for Mizzou versus Ohio State. The game kicks off at 7. You can hear it all right here on 810. We'll take a break. We will perhaps begin to turn an eye ahead to the NFL as Chiefs-Bengals on New Year's Eve. It'll be the Chiefs' second chance in 2 weeks to clinch the AFC West. And I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll work on predictions. We'll talk to Matt Derrick at 11, Kendall Gammon at noon, Mick Schaefer at about 12:30. We'll figure out what the right smart prediction for Chiefs-Bengals is. But if recent history is any indicator, we're going to be guessing. And the Chiefs are going to give us some sort of surprise, maybe good, more likely bad, when they take the field on Sunday. We'll break some of that down. And also, Jamar Chase is out here talking again. Not talking. He is talking. And we'll see if that matters either, because as Dylan and I were talking about pregame, even that has a little bit of a pregame. Yeah, this show's a game to us. We were talking about pre-show, pregame for us. Even this has a little bit of a different feel to it. So we'll break all that down as we roll on here. It's The Zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I think a lot of times, especially in the NFL, rivalries are way more about the fans and the organizations than they are the individual players. It's a sport with a ton of free agency, a ton of turnover, and also you got 32 teams and everybody is a professional. Like, I really don't think that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow hate each other. Now, you get your defenders versus your offense guys, and you might be able to come up with some individual player-to-player rivalries, but there just aren't a lot of examples of it really permeating through players at this point. Just kind of a outside view there. Divisional rivalries still sort of matter, but even think about like Raider Week. Not to dwell on what happened last week. I don't know if it would have changed things if the Chiefs would have had a little more personal disdain for the Raiders organization. I don't know it would change anything. But like, think about when you hear, taking you behind the curtain, when you hear people in the media ask players about rivalries and the tension there or whatever, a lot of the times the person's either asking the question or the player is answering the question for the fans. Because for the fans, it makes sense. Fans don't go to free agency. You grew up hating the Broncos. You watched John Elway rip your heart out, and then you watched Peyton Manning show up in a Broncos uniform and be annoyingly good again. And then you have the incredibly long-lasting streak that now you get to rub in the face of Broncos fans, and then you lose the streak, and now that actually really hurts. And then they appear to be completely moving on from Russell Wilson, and then you can enjoy the what's the German word for enjoying the plight of others? There's a very specific, the Schadenfreude. I got there. You can enjoy the Schadenfreude of the Broncos. Rivalries are very, very real for fans, but again, and maybe even owners or on some level, I guess if coaches are there for a long time, whatever. But really, at this point, rivalries are mostly for the fans. Because that's where they come from. That's where they're the most honest. Which is why I think the Chiefs and Bengals are a special case. Because I do not think these two teams care for each other. I do not think there is much love amongst peers. And it seems to be a spot where both sides are willing to do a little bit of trash talking in the week leading up. You can call it bulletin board material if you want. You can call it foolish if you want. Willie Gay has done the what really scares you about the offense? Nothing. Justin Reed was kicking around Tyler Higbee, Hayden Hurst, Hunter Henry. I don't think he said Hunter Henry at any point, but a bunch of tight end names. He's got numbers and not knowing full names, whatever. Those have been full big things. And then yesterday, Jamar Chase, famous for many of his great quotes, such as Pat who? Is that a month before that Pat won his second MVP and second Super Bowl? A couple months before. But Jamar Chase rejoined the chat yesterday as he spoke to the media in the locker room, and looks like he'll be coming back from his injury to play in this game. And he said a lot about a lot of things with the Chiefs. It's all locker room audio, so the background noise when the reporters are asking the questions might be a little bit harder to hear than you'd like. But what Jamar Chase said is very easy to understand. He was asked about the Chiefs' defense and what stands out. And it'll be a multi-part story here, but here's the first maybe most interesting clip from Jamar Chase.
We know what we're capable of. Everyone in the league does. That's why KC double is the way they do.
What stands out about that secondary for the Chiefs?
If I'm being honest, nothing. They just know how to play us. They know the leverages. They know what splits we in. They just know what we gonna do certain movements. They throw a little double-doubles at us to stop the two best players on the outside, and that's all they do. I mean, it's not really like they got a Jalen Ramsey on these squads, you know what I'm saying? So, not much.
Let's work back to front. They don't have Jalen Ramsey on their squad. They have two corners who have had better seasons than Jalen Ramsey has. Injury notwithstanding. Look, Jalen Ramsey is an all-time great, future Hall of Famer, an excellent, excellent corner. L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie are both having better years this year than Jalen Ramsey is. That's just a weird place for Jamar Chase to give credit. I don't know if he was just like Jalen Ramsey was probably the best corner in football when Jamar Chase got drafted, or his last year in college or something like that. And again, Ramsey's still really good, but sort of a weird dig there. Nothing stands out. They don't have a Jalen Ramsey. They just know what we're going to do and can double team our best players. So they do that, and sometimes it works. It doesn't sound like bragging to me, but I think Jamar Chase meant for it to be. Here's another one from Jamar Chase. There's plenty of talking going on between both of these two teams. I'll let him explain.
Hell yeah, they talk the most. That's why. Yeah, I love it. Do.
Well, how much do you remember the fourth down catch from Joe in that game? What do you remember?
Really just double. I got doubled and T got doubled. So, judges gave me the opportunity to make a play with the ball in the air.
Who talks the most on Kansas City?
Is Willie Gay still there?
Yes.
The linebacker? Him probably. Yeah.
I think people from the outside assume that there's a lot of hate there between you two, but it seems to be that it's just competitive fire. You guys enjoy that.
What? Bengals and KC?
Yeah.
It's
Is it
football,
hate?
man. I mean, y'all gonna put whatever image y'all want on it already. So I mean,
But you guys enjoy it. There's no hate, or is there some hate?
no comment. No comment.
Boy, I can't even guess what he actually thinks. Spends all this time talking trash and playing up the rivalry and denigrating the opponent. And so, do you guys enjoy the trash talk and everything? I don't know, man. You guys decide if I like it or not. What? It doesn't make any sense, but much of this doesn't. One more clip from Jamar Chase, then we'll break it all down. Him talking about the Chiefs a little more here, and he talks about L'Jarius Sneed. His name comes up, so he does know who he is. But look, he's just adding fire to the fuel.
They can take it how they wanna. I don't care.
But if you don't play, would that be a problem? I'm sure you want to go out and back it up. But if
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's so much that I can do myself. It's not like I'm Iron Man. I can't throw the football to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a team sport. At the end of the day, it's just I know what I see on paper. I know what I see in game. That's why they double everybody, because they can't do it one-on-one. The best player on their team is Sneed, and that's a fact. Everybody knows that. That's why they double everything they see. They just got they drafted 2 new corners that's longer. They're trying to match Sneed. That's why Sneed at corner now. I already know it. Like, I'm not bugged about it. They know I'm good. They know how to play us. That's what it is. But it's not like they got a superstar on their defense.
he was dinged up in that championship game, was he on
Who?
you a lot, Sneed?
I can't remember.
Not having Brian Cook.
Who?
Brian Cook, safety.
I don't even know who that is. That number 6?
That's
6, yeah. You
get
got
games in the championship.
I don't know, man. I don't. Just a guy to me. Ain't Jesse Bates to me. You want me to go comparisons? It's not the same. Just saying.
There's a lot to unpack there. I mean, just some really good stuff. Their best player is Sneed, but they double everybody. He went 6 for 75 and no touchdowns in the AFC Championship game. But he doesn't remember who was covering him or how they played him. But he does know they're not good. He does not remember how the Chiefs limited him in the AFC Championship game, but he does remember that Brian Cook is just a guy. He does remember that they drafted 2 longer corners. That would have been not Trent McDuffie, obviously. That's got to be Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams, so it's not accounting for Trent McDuffie. I don't know what he means about that's why Sneed's playing corner now. I don't know if that's him saying that's why Sneed's playing outside instead of in the slot now, but that would be McDuffie. For all of his great traits, length is not one of the ones that you would typically associate with Trent McDuffie. But honestly, I'm totally here for all of that. I don't think it's smart or accurate, but I do kind of like hearing it. Dylan, I know we're up against it before we hear from Lee Sterling, but I want you to bring in what you mentioned before the show today about how that audio would have made you feel in years past.
Well, I mean, it makes me feel like there's a 30-point blowout on the other side, but now I'm scared, especially after the Jack Jones comments like you were pointing out.
Stop the magician, you stop the show or whatever it was, and then he housed one.
Yeah. It kind of feels almost similar to when the Tevin Smith comments came out in 2018 of the Jags.
That's who it was,
Where
Tevin
he was
Smith.
saying, oh, we're going to wait till after the game and then we'll comment. This just feels like no one's scared this time. It's almost the end of the don't talk bleep on Mahomes before the game. And I don't want it to be, and I'm hoping that that is not the case because they're motivated because we ended their season, and he just gave us the motivation that we needed if we didn't already have it after last game. So
I think it's a great take, Dylan. I really do. And I'm not here to say it is the end of that. Again, neither one of us are saying that it is now over. But this is something that you typically would not say about the full strength, full fire breathing dragon version of the Chiefs that we've seen them be over the last few years. So if the Chiefs need any fire to the fuel, this is a free opportunity for it. I hope the guys in the locker room all see this. I bet you anything Dave Merritt and the corners and the DBs have all now seen and heard this audio. They will all know about it. But I hope Mahomes does too. I hope the wide receivers do too. Because the Las Vegas Raiders came into your house on Christmas Day and took your presents. Do not let this happen. Lose your AFC West hats one more time because the Bengals come and do it. Unacceptable.
have some pride in the fact that you're playing so bad on your side of the football that the other team finds it okay to take shots at actually the best unit on your team, the defense. When in years past this would be okay, probably. You probably wouldn't hear much from it after, but now with the way the defense is playing and how they have shut down people like Devontae Adams, the list goes on.
Yep.
Yeah, basically you're playing so bad on your side of the football that teams feel emboldened to say things about your best unit. So
I also think that is great. You, the Chiefs offense, have let Jamar Chase talk bleep about L'Jarius Sneed, who's playing all-pro level football. And like you said, Dylan, the unit on your team that has been carrying you this year. The Chiefs don't lack for motivation, like for reasons to be motivated. They've got plenty. Again, win the division. Stop this skid. Stabilize your season. Get ready for the playoffs. They should be plenty motivated. But here's another opportunity and another version of a way you could be motivated going into this game. Look, it could be adding more fire to the fuel, but if the Chiefs are going to win this game, I guess I'll believe it when I see it.
You know, it's been 6 months we've been working with Guaranteed Foods, and let me tell you, 6 months ago, before we started doing that, I had no clue what Guaranteed Foods could offer my family. No idea. At first, I thought, is this one of those companies that'll send you the meals and the meal kits, and then...
You're about to find out from national sports handicapping champion Lee Sterling on The Zone. Log on to ParamountSports.com or call toll-free 800-400-9741 to get started.
Welcome back into The Zone on this Red Friday. Time to talk to Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. And December is winding down, Lee, but I know you've always got something for us at Paramount Sports because the football, still got a lot of football to go, don't we?
We do. We've got a lot of college bowl games left to be played, and we're off to an 8-2 start in the bowl game, so can't complain about that. In fact, we're 113, 73-3 on the year. That is every single play from the first preseason game through now. It works out to 61%. That's almost winning 2 out of every 3 games the entire season. I don't know anyone who has a documented record like that. So if anyone wants to jump on board, all they need to do is go to ParamountSports.com. Rest of the college bowl games, you're going to get the last 2 weeks of the NFL season, the entire playoffs, and the Super Bowl, including my top 10 prop plays. Normally $447. We lowered it, not to $347, just $247. Are you kidding me? One place, ParamountSports.com, or call 800-400-9741.
Well, let's get Jackpot January started a little bit early and talk about some bowl games. First up, the Cotton Bowl, right? Missouri's in this game. They're very excited to be there. Ohio State, some opt-outs, some transfers. We don't know what this line has gone crazy back and forth. Ohio State's back to a little over a field goal favorite.
So Kyle McCord, the quarterback who played the entire season, he plays, Marvin Harrison play. I'm going Ohio State. I mean, Marvin Harrison is unguardable. I believe he'll be a top 2, top 3 pick. That's a story for another day. But he showed up. He has not practiced the last couple of days. So I would say it's about 90-95% he will not play. If you're a top 3 pick, you can't chance it because you get hurt. You're going down to number maybe 12 to 20. So I think Missouri is going to be able to slow them down. I mean, Kyle McCord, this kid lost 1 game, and they ran this kid off. He's going to Syracuse. I mean, that's like being sent to Boog Allen here. So I don't get it. Devin Brown is fine. I know they didn't guarantee that he was going to come back, but Devin Brown, his first game, is he just going to light up the scoreboard? I don't think so. Ohio State, this is a consolation bowl. 2-11 straight up, 3-10 against the spread. The last 13 games against SEC opponents. In bowl games, it has not fared well for them. They have also not covered 10 of the last 13 bowl games here. We're going to go with Missouri. Just think they have too many weapons here. And remember, motivation, the number one aspect here in bowl games here. Wrong team favored. Missouri outright 31-24.
Yeah, I think I agree. The Tigers are definitely motivated for it. We got some motivated teams on Saturday night in the NFL. You can hear this game right here on Sports Radio 810. Dallas is a 6-point favorite over Detroit. Detroit's punched their ticket. Dallas had a disappointing loss against Miami, but Dallas is a pretty big favorite here.
They are 6 points. So you know what? I'm going to change my selection. I was thinking about looking at one side. Sometimes you got to go with the easier way to win this game. Over 53 total points. I mean, so many offensive players on both teams, you can't even count them all here. Dallas's defense is decent, but off traveling to Miami, playing that Miami offense here. Now they got to play another offense so explosive here on turf, and Detroit's defense is borderline garbage. I'm going with the over 53 total points here. We might see 70 to 80 points scored like that were scored at 85 total in the Kansas game the other night. So over 53 total points, the easier way to play this game.
And a big one in Baltimore. They did exactly what you said last week. They were underdogs, and they won on the road at San Francisco on Christmas night. It's a big one for them. They're coming back home. They can wrap up 1 seed and all that. Miami squeaked by against Dallas, but now they're going on the road. The world's against them, right? They're an underdog on the road. This is a big one as well. You can hear it on 810 on Sunday at noon. What do you think about the Ravens and the Dolphins?
So this line opened up at 2.5, some places 3. Now it's 3.5 after Baltimore won that game here. They've got to travel back from the West Coast. They're playing on a short week here. People think of Miami as this soft team. Miami's not. They might have as many as 4 or 5 starters that started the year playing here. They've been playing the whole year with 1 or 2 starters. So things are improving health-wise for Miami. I think Miami's set up to stop this Baltimore team. They were losing last year early in the season. I think they were down 14 or 17 points, stormed back to win the game easy. So I think 3.5 is a lot here with so much on the line here. I'm going to call for Miami to pull off the upset here, 28-24 over the Ravens.
Well, that would cause a stir in the AFC for sure. Now, everyone knows the Chiefs are leaking oil, but I'm not sure anyone's leaking oil like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've lost 4 in a row, haven't won in the month of December. They still haven't punched their ticket to the playoffs, but they're playing the worst team in the league. I mean, they're going to win this game, I think, but are they going to cover 6.5 points?
You can't lay points with this offense right now. I mean, it doesn't make any difference whether Beathard plays quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, the receivers, the route running has been horrible. Can't hang on to the ball here. This Carolina team, if this was the last week of the season, I'd go against Carolina, but they're not packing up yet here. If you're not scoring, don't lay close to a touchdown in the NFL here. I think Jacksonville squeaks by here, 23-20.
They just want to win, I guess. They don't care how they get it. They just need to win. And another team that just needs a win is these Kansas City Chiefs. Christmas against the Raiders was as ugly a game as they've had at home since Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback, and early maybe in Andy Reid's coaching career. It was terrible. But they're still a 7-point favorite against Cincinnati, who still shows life, right? I know they lost to the Steelers, but they're showing some life. The Chiefs just have to get a win. They have to punch their ticket, get in the playoffs.
Yep. Jake Browning, for some reason, both games that he's lost have been against the Steelers. So for some reason, he can't read their defenses, has not been able to figure the Steelers out. But this is a circle game for Cincinnati. Remember, they lost the conference championship game. Another team, Kansas City, can't score. 6-1 record. Now they've lost 5 of the last 8. Worst turnover margin in the league. Travis Kelce, 1 touchdown the last 8 games. That's the reason, or one of the many reasons he threw his help in here. Also, no running game here. So this game means a lot for Cincinnati here. So no, like I said, Burrow here, Joe Burrow, but I think Jake Browning is going to be able to do a good enough job, keep him in the game here. I think Kansas City wins this game here 21-17, but 7 points is a lot in the NFL for another team on offense having problems.
The Chiefs just need anything at this point. And I know our listeners would like anything from you that's free as kicking off this Jackpot January. What have you got for them today?
So we're going to go with this Denver game. This Denver team obviously making a change here at quarterback. So what does it mean? Does it mean they're going to be able to just keep rolling here? They had 1 setback last week. Or, can the Chargers play spoiler here? So Denver doesn't look good to make the playoffs, but they're going to do whatever they can. Chargers trying to play spoiler. These two teams know each other well. First 5 callers get it for free. Call 800-400-9741. Again, the number 800-400-9741 to get Denver and the Chargers on me. And what a year it's been. Like I said, 113, 73-3 on the NFL this season. We are just rolling here. Big plays, 64 and 22 lifetime, 40 to 50 unit plays. You want to hop on? Normally $447, just $247 for the Super Bowl. Everything we've got in the college football bowls left, all the NFL playoffs, including the Super Bowl. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
Well, it's still December, but Jackpot January is right around the corner. Get on right now with ParamountSports.com. More Zone coming up next on this Red Friday.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
You know what I just remembered, Dylan? We're going to have a show on Monday, so I never gave out a ring. How about a little late week edition of it? Who Gets the Ring is presented by Ruback Fine Jewelry. You can go check out their brand new location in downtown Overland Park. They've moved after 32 years. Again, now open in downtown Overland Park. You can check them out online at ruback.co. That's ruback.co. I got my ring from there. I got my wife's ring from there. You should get anything you need. Engagement season, holidays, all of that, of course. Ruback Fine Jewelry. I'm giving the ring to the entirety of the Pop-Tarts Bowl committee, the marketing team, the Pop-Tart mascot itself, all absolutely ring-worthy. And that's the fitting and necessary recipient of Ruback Fine Jewelry's Who Gets the Ring for this week. But also, we got a real ring winner in here with us right now. Matt Derrick is with us from ChiefsDigest.com. You can also hear him on 41 is the Mic with Nick Jacobs. He's brought to you by Cap One Lending. The Freedom Loan at Cap One Lending is the exclusive loan that helps you pay your home off in less than half the time and gives you access to your home's equity without having to refinance. Go to CapOneLending.com. Matt, do the Chiefs want to see if the Bengals can maybe do any lending of a wide receiver to them for the remainder of the season? Or at this point, is that well poisoned? Do these two teams truly hate each other?
I mean, I would assume that right now, based on what I heard driving in, that if the Chiefs need anything borrowed from the Bengals, I guess it would be a cornerback.
I guess that's a great point. Yeah. A Jalen Ramsey type.
Yeah, since apparently the Chiefs don't have any defensive players and certainly no corners that can cover the Bengals.
I do like that there's some real vitriol in this rivalry because I think most of the time it's a little bit made up. I think the Bills and Chiefs have a lot of frustrations from the Chiefs, but it seems like it's some mutual respect by and large. I don't know if you've gotten any whiff of it so far this week, or maybe we'll get a little bit today, but this one feels legitimate. I feel like both of these teams genuinely have a real level of disdain for each other.
They do. I mean, it goes back a while. I mean, and the trash talking has gone in ebbs and flows in a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. Because remember last year, it was Justin Reed and the Chiefs who were coming out and kind of firing some shots and everything. And I would bet my house that Tuesday rather, after the game Monday, that Andy Reid, first thing out of his mouth was probably, "You guys aren't talking crap." And he probably said, "You guys played like crap on Monday, so you can't talk crap this week. So keep your mouth shut."
I think the defense should be allowed to talk this week if they want to, but really, if you win this game, the defense then gets bleep talking card.
Save your talk until after the game.
Yeah, that's
fair.
fair.
And then you can say whatever you want.
I think that's probably for the best. We haven't talked since the game because we did not have our customary post-game conversation. But you were out there, and I was going to say enjoying the holiday at Arrowhead, but I
wouldn't say I was enjoying it.
I don't think almost anyone did, either in the press box or wearing red in the stadium. But go ahead and let's hop in our time machine. What was the vibe like post game once you got into the locker room there for the post game press conferences? I have to imagine it was a rough scene.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was not a lot of activity in that locker room. Not gonna lie, there wasn't a lot of guys that really wanted to say anything. And a lot of the offensive players, frankly, got dressed and got out of there because they were ready to get on with their holiday. Yeah. Some of the defensive guys too, but and some of the defensive guys talked, and there was a couple of offensive guys talk. So I don't want to throw everybody under the bus there. But no, it was there was a lot of crickets. I mean, it was pretty quiet down there. And no, I mean, I think that's certainly. I think you saw a fairly frustrated Patrick Mahomes, at least a disappointed Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to put too much onto him. Disappointed Chris Jones. Andy Reid. I mean, I'll say it has been a little, I don't know, even-keeled through all of this.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm used to Andy being a little bit more frustrated by this, and so I don't know if it's just simply that he is kind of knows what he has and is just kind of rolling with the punches, or if he knows what he has and he feels like there's something that we're just not seeing.
Yeah, let's dissect that some. That feels like the two options. It feels like he either is in an acceptance place where he knows what he has and we're gonna play this season out and hope we get lucky, or he knows what he has and he knows it's gonna get better. Where would your money be in terms of what he's feeling right now?
I mean, just based on what we have seen, I mean, I have to think it's the former than the latter. I mean, and there's probably, and I know, I've talked to Chiefs fans who are kind of in that category too, that have just said, hey, you know what, this isn't the year. I mean, even though the defense has been so good, and it's just that, it's what do you have on offense? And whether it's guys just having bad years, whether it's, some guys not playing up to their potential, just things not clicking. I mean, it could be a lot of different things, and there's so much going on behind the scenes that we never know about. And I don't say that in a casting aspersions of, guys aren't trying, there's no accountability. I mean, I think that there's all of that going on. I mean, I think that people are being accounted. I think there's trying, but we just don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, so maybe a guy's having a bad year. I mean, this is like, I was talking by my guy, Nick Jacobs, I think on our podcast the other day. 41 is the mic, quiet plug there.
I loudly plugged it as you were
very
entering.
kind to loudly plug it.
I'm going to loudly plug it when necessary.
You're a true fan and a supporter, so I appreciate you, Josh.
You know what I would have appreciated? You meeting Nick's level of festivity, because he's been bringing the heat from a festive perspective, and I don't want to say he's embarrassed you, but he's embarrassed you.
He's shown me up for sure.
He really has.
I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, that's absolutely, and I'm 60% convinced that for the video pod after the game this week that Nick is going to dress up as a New Year's baby. So,
is it too late for you guys to do one old man and one baby?
I mean, if not, I volunteer to be the old man.
Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, you were going to make a salient point about something, but I just wanted to shout out how excellent Nick's visual additions have been.
I was just going to, quote Roy Kent.
All right, can you do that on the radio?
Well, the clean version of Roy Kent. But just say, hey, you don't know what's going on. I mean, maybe a guy's having a bad year because things are bad at home. I mean, You never know. I mean, we don't know what goes on in these guys' lives. So I do know that saying that so-and-so is having a bad year because he's not trying or nobody's holding him accountable is for the most part crap.
Yeah.
Now, is it possible that, hey, the Chiefs just need somebody different? Because I think I've certainly come to the realization and the acceptance that I think the Chiefs not only probably missed the voice of an Eric Bieniemy, I think they missed the voice of a Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
I think it's regardless of what he would do on the field. I mean, he was a leader, and not that not to knock anybody in that room right now, but it's a very young room, and Juju was a guy who'd been around the block a few times, and there's something different when you see a guy like that who is has done as much as he has in his career, who has the miles on him that he has. And even though Juju is relatively still young in those respects, he's not in far as the miles go.
Yes.
He'll tell you. I mean, the wheels got a lot of, wear on the tread.
Yes.
But when you see that guy working as hard as he does, and that's why, even Tyreek, and I don't say you miss Tyreek from a field standpoint because you won a Super Bowl without him, but Tyreek had probably the best work ethic of any NFL player I've ever seen at practice. I mean, because it's true. All the stories. I mean, everybody says he goes 100% all the time.
And 100% of Tyreek Hill is a lot.
And it's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's just the way it is. You miss a guy like that, that just either, challenges you. I mean, once again, I mean, it's, to me, I think every one of these coaches hold their guys accountable. But Eric Bieniemy, for, I think a word I can't say on the radio because it's been said many, many times, is a competitive prick. So I get Mahomes as one, but sometimes you need another one.
Yeah.
And I was talking with some folks the other day, and, one thing, a great thing that I think that the last few years that Eric Bieniemy had been, and I don't know, you may have friends that have said this to you too on various podcasts. I don't know. So maybe I may be even quoting somebody else. I don't know. But the Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid had such a good cop, bad cop thing going.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they have a bad cop right now on offense. They've got good cop, bad cops on defense. Because Steve Spagnuolo's good.
He's a good cop.
Good cop to have as a DC.
Yep.
And Joe Cullen and Brendan Daly and Dave Merritt. I mean, Dave Merritt said Shabari Connor stinks.
He said he stunk.
I mean, when you're willing to say that about a player and then love him up, I mean, that's some cold, hard reality.
this is something that Dylan brought this up that day, and then I've talked about it more since. Because I get a little bit uncomfortable being too definitive with this kind of analysis because it's very vibes based and it's very press conference based. So that's my precursor. But the Chiefs' defensive press conferences from Spags every week, because you want to talk about consistent behavior on tape. A Steve Spagnuolo press conference, it's gonna bring a smile to my face.
I'm gonna digress here for just one moment.
It's all digression.
To point out because when I guess I was hearing it. I don't think you guys played. I guess I was listening to it on my own on the way and just refreshing myself from yesterday's pressers. But Steve's got a great one that he leans on when talking about, especially backup quarterbacks or replacement quarterbacks. Because the number of times that he'll say, "Oh, I look at Bailey Zappi and I'm thinking, is that Tom Brady back there?
Is that Brady?
Is that Joe Burrow or Jake Browning?
Can't tell the difference.
I mean, is that Derek Carr or Aiden O'Connell? I can't tell. These guys all look the same to me. Is that Patrick Mahomes or Blaine Gabbert? I don't know.
It's amazing. It's amazing that Spags has been such a good defensive coordinator while only watching film in like 240p. Like it is just pixels there. He just uses the dots. It's just the numbers that change. He's the best. But, like, every week he's the same energy-wise, and then you do hear from Dave Merritt or Brendan Daly or Joe Cullen, who also do great press conferences. And, again, you don't need to get hired based off your press conference ability. But Dylan made the point when Dave Merritt said that about Shamari Connor was like, you don't say that if you're walking on eggshells in the room. Like if Connor Embry came out and said, "No, look, in training camp, I thought Rashee Rice stunk," everyone would have been like, "You what? You thought he what? And how many other receivers do you think stink, Connor?" Like again, it's just it's a different energy, and there is so much more looseness and fun permeating through the defensive side of the ball that when it gets in front of the camera and you can see it, I wonder what that means about the meeting rooms. Because right now, if you said, "Hey, this has never been true in the Andy Reid era until this year and until these last few weeks, I feel like it's been cemented for me." If you said, "Hey, I'm just going to drop you, invisibility cloak, fly on the wall, into an offensive or defensive meeting room. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to spend your next hour?" I'm sure I'd learn a lot and be able to learn a lot from the offensive side. But I'd much rather hang at the defense's Christmas party this year than the offense's Christmas party.
A much happier party. There's no doubt
much
about that.
happier party.
No doubt.
And that is wild to me, but it's absolutely true.
And and this is the thing. I mean, when you're playing the way that the defense is, and no, I haven't gotten a chance to be in the meeting rooms, but you get little snippets here of what the players talk about and everything. And so I'm willing to bet what I imagine is going on in those meeting rooms right now, at least the general tone. I won't say these are specific things that are being said, but the general tone. I mean, I would bet that in the defensive meetings for the most part, it's a pretty joyous occasion. I mean, there's plenty, and when they go over the mistakes, they're having fun with that too.
Yeah,
because it's going to be like, "Hey, you know what? Here's the 5 best plays that we had today. All right, here, look at those." And be like, "Okay, here are the 10 times that you guys were just F-ups.
Yep.
And these are hilarious. Let me show you these."
Yep.
And in the offensive rooms, I am sure that it's, just the dreaded dead silence of, studying for a chemistry exam, final.
Yep.
And the teacher just droning on because it's like, "Okay, well, here's a mistake here and here's a mistake here. But you know what, guys? Look at this play right here. This play right here. It was only one play in the entire game against the Raiders, but if we played like this for 60 plays instead of just one, if this play right here was it, Super Bowl champs.
Super Bowl right here.
Super Bowl champs right there." And because that's what you're getting from Mahomes and you're getting from Reid. I mean, it's just a tick away. Mahomes has seen them play at their best. Mm-hmm. So why can't you play? He says there's no reason why they can't play at their best every single snap. Well, clearly there has been a reason because they haven't done it.
It's because they're human beings and they're not the level
robots.
of they're not robots.
They're not Pop-Tarts.
They're not.
They don't just come out right almost every single time.
We will talk about Pop-Tarts and edible mascots at some point. We've started very serious here, and that's my fault as a host. But I have to imagine if we're all sick of hearing them say, "Oh, they're just a tick off." I imagine that so is the entire offense. I mean, so help me splice this one up in terms of watching the game in real time and seeing the live all 22, and now we've had kind of the whole week to digest it a little bit. Speaking of Pop-Tarts, I need to check my blood sugar again. Pop-Tarts, absolute sugar bombs. You never would guess it, but a lot of carbs in those suckers.
I had an Ohio State fan send me some donuts this morning, so I could be in real trouble. You never know. Especially since I was wearing the Mizzou shirt.
You're wearing the colors, so I'm worried. I'm worried then that you might. Interesting. You keep an eye on all sorts of your vital signs.
I mean, I'm not throwing away the donuts. Trust me. So I'm eating those donuts.
Definitely got to eat the donuts. Just at least check it for cotton, because that's not going to work as well as it did for Pop-Tarts yesterday. I hope that, give me the cotton stuffed donut and Mizzou straight up, thanks. But when you're seeing that in real time, and we have the whole week going on beyond it, it seems to me, talking to people who are smarter than I am and have had the stomach to rewatch this game more than I have, how many plays were there where everyone did their job on the offensive side?
Not many.
And I feel worse. And seriously, do let me know if you disagree with any layer of this. But if it's true that game was this play, the offensive line blew it. This play, the wide receivers blew it. This play, Mahomes blew it. Missed a block, missed communication, didn't get open. Mahomes dropped his eyes, bailed out of the pocket, whatever. I am even more discouraged by that than I would be like, oh, man, Wanya Morris got baptized by Max Crosby. They never figured it out. On to the next one. Because if that was it, you could say, all right, learning experience, elite player, don't let it happen next week against Trey Hendrickson or whatever. Like, that would be easier to handle for me than this idea that, like, it's just somebody else's fault basically every play, because I don't know how you fix that.
I'm not sure either. And clearly, I mean, Andy Reid and his staff doesn't know, or they would have fixed it by now. I mean, now, I would generally classify a lot of the things that I see in the two categories. And I think I would also base this just on what the players and the coaches have told us as well. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I think that the two biggest categories of errors are just focus and overcompensating. And nobody's going to say put the overcompensating in those terms. That's my term for it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's what it is. Because, is there complete trust across the board right now, everybody on offense? No. I mean, that's the issue. And Steve Spagnuolo has talked about this on the defensive side, and because he has his little, my job plus little phrase that he talks about, which is that you do your job. That's the first thing you focus on. And you get your job done, then you can do a little more. But you do your job first and then worry about that. Well, right now I see an offense that's worried that somebody else isn't doing their job. So I got to help make up for that. If I'm Patrick Mahomes, I mean, and I think he basically told us this on Wednesday. He was trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt. I mean, when you see Mahomes start drifting in the pocket, bad things have happened. And he's been doing that for a few weeks now. And when he starts drifting in the pocket, it's usually because, honestly, he's trying to force something to happen. Mm-hmm. He's trying to he is overlooking maybe open receivers short because he's hoping that something deep is going to develop. He's working on it. I mean, he's trying to see if he waits just a little bit longer, maybe something will happen. And when he does that, with his footwork and everything, he starts moving a little bit out of the pocket and everything. Well, you start drifting a little bit, and what happens? Well, now you're no longer in the pocket. Now you have stepped out of your protection. So now, no matter how well your tackles are playing, whatever they're doing, you have now run in, have stepped into pressure.
Yep.
So then everything starts to break down. If you're a receiver, and you're trying to overcompensate for all of this, now you're not where Mahomes expects you to be.
Yep.
Because now you're trying to do some Jedi mind tricks now to get open. And what you need to do is exactly what your route is. And some of the focus issues that we're seeing, I mean, some of it, and you know what? Some of this could even go back to the offseason.
Yeah.
Because, think about it in this way. And I don't think that Andy Reid was wrong. I mean, I think he read his team right. Once again, this is a team that has come off a lot of, long seasons. And we kind of hailed it last year because the whole, we're not going to skip phase one of OTAs in Kansas City. You guys rest. Skill guys go down to Texas and work with Mahomes. And then we'll get together, later in phase 2 and phase 3 and bang it all out and everything. Well, I think that worked last year for sure when you had so much continuity.
Yeah.
But this year, you know what? You have 2 new tackles. You didn't really get them on the field until almost May.
Yeah.
And by that point, I mean, if you're wanting to do something different, I mean, if you are bringing in new guys that maybe have a different style, that want to mesh in with what you do, because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the way that Jawan Taylor plays. A lot of tackles around the league play the way Jawan Taylor plays. Whether it's the alignment, okay, does he line up maybe a couple inches deeper than some other guys do? Okay, I'll grant you that. But is he the only guy in the league that goes off cadence? No. But if that's how you play, you really, like a guy like Trey Smith needs time to know where because now he spent, last 2 years of his, career playing a different style. He's been playing mostly in Texas to Andrew Wiley, who plays a completely different style.
Yeah.
Doesn't go on cadence. He watches the ball. So it's a different thing. So now, and Joe Tooney's on the same side. Now, Joe Tooney's got a lot more experience, so I think he's be able to handle it a little bit differently. But he's playing next to a new tackle, too. But once again, Donovan Smith, late addition. So, hey, are some of the problems you're seeing in protection and some of the issues you're seeing with as far as where the pocket is, does that go back to the fact that these guys just haven't had as much time? Yeah, maybe it does. Does it, now, that doesn't explain the receivers because, of course, we heard, hey, everything's down, going great down in Texas. Everybody, it's kumbaya. Everybody's on the same page, playing video games and catching footballs, having wings and chips and everything. It's all going great. But at the same time, during training camp, Chiefs were trying to keep 9 receivers in the rotation and keep them hungry and everything.
Yeah.
And obviously didn't have Kadarius. And that didn't even include Kadarius Toney.
Right. He's the one guy who this doesn't apply to for all of his issues.
But then you get Kadarius Toney, and he doesn't play for 6 weeks, and then all of a sudden you shove him out there in week 1 and say, go get it, and shatter his confidence, and I'm not sure that he's ever been the same since.
Yeah, I think that's probably
right. So
he
has spent I'm not trying to, I'm digressing way too long here and pontificating way too much, but it's December 29th, and we're just going to empty out the year.
This is literally what we're here for, is to pontificate about Chiefs stuff.
It's a holiday weekend, and we're just dumping out the notebook here, Josh.
Dump that notebook.
But, I do feel like that he's, tried the entire year to overcompensate for what happened in week 1, which honestly wasn't his fault. I mean, he should have been given more time. I mean, I think Andy Reid will tell you. I mean, the entire coaching staff will probably tell you in retrospect, yeah, you know what, we should have backed off his snaps in week 1, should have given him a little bit less of a workload, let him get his feet wet and everything, and then ramp him up. Instead, they threw him out there in the deep end in week 1 and didn't go well. And now you probably just broke him for the entire year.
Yeah.
And then, you have bad luck, too. I mean, Travis Kelce, not having a Travis Kelce year. Still fantastic because he's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
But he's a 34-year-old who hyperextended his knee before week 1.
An hour before the first game.
And guaranteed that he was not going to be pretty much healthy the entire season.
Yep.
So, there's so many little things. And, yeah, I get it. I mean, and if the Chiefs' perspective is, hey, if everybody is healthy and everybody's playing as well as they can, this team's a Super Bowl team. I am not disputing that.
Sure.
It is 100% true.
Sure.
But team that showed up on Monday ain't winning anything.
Nothing. One more thing on Monday's game and on the receivers that I'm curious if you were seeing it in real time, if you've seen this since then. Mahomes was asked about it and talked about it a little bit, where there was some stuff downfield where MVS was getting open and Mahomes either didn't see him or saw him and said, not you. Not you. Honestly, MVS would have earned that if that's what's happening. Mahomes would have earned that if that's what's happening from the number of times that MVS was not in the right spot, or he was in the right spot and then the ball hit him in the hands and then fell to the ground, him not fighting for contested balls, whatever. To me, that seems like the lost trust that we talked about many times earlier throughout the season kind of coming home to roost in that moment there. But also, with this group the way it is right now, if I'm wide open 40 yards downfield, Mahomes has to throw it to me because I'm there. Now, I will also drop it, but at least I'll have a new low light for everybody, and I'll wear a different number. But I'll give me something in the 80s, and I think he's got to take that. So did you see that also happening in the game? And then how do you rationalize, is there such a thing as a deep passing game for this version of the Chiefs? Is there any chance that trust gets rebuilt at all with MVS?
I mean, it could absolutely be the trust issue. I mean, absolutely could be. But I saw it more as, on those snaps when Marquez is on the field. And admittedly, he was on the field a lot. But right now, I mean, Marquez has been a receiver whom in the past, was probably sometime, I mean, and I'm saying sort of the last 2 years, was maybe frequently the averaging second or third as far as, the target preference, whom the play was, which progression he was.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few where he's going to want. I mean, the first progression. I mean, maybe it's a deep ball. I mean, that's a lot of Marquez's bread and butter. He lives on the deep balls, so they've had a lot of things. A lot of deep balls have been designed for Marquez, and they hit on some. They don't hit on others. I mean, obviously Marquez, bless his heart, one of the things that he brought with him from Green Bay was a reputation for making very difficult catches and dropping some easy ones.
Yep.
Once a week, he's going to drop one that's going to make your head scratch.
Yep.
So he's lived up to that reputation. I mean, but then he's also lived up to the reputation of making some really good catches too. So you got to give him that. But in a game like Monday, I saw it more as, okay, the first progression on pretty much every play is either Kelsey or another tight end, but usually Kelsey, Rashee Rice. Sometimes flip that order, but those two guys were probably those two guys who are tight end were probably the primary target of 44% of the throws that Mahomes made. They were probably the preferred choice on probably 25 to 30 of them.
Yeah.
So then who's your third progression? Well, on some plays, it might be a second tight end. I mean, it could be another receiver. So I would say that for the most part, and a running back is usually your third.
Yeah.
I mean, in your progression. So now you're even talking about Marquez is maybe the fourth or fifth. And a lot of times on a lot of plays, I mean, your progressions don't even go down that far.
Right, sure.
I mean, if you're the fifth guy in the progression, you're probably getting the ball only if all heck is broken loose.
Yes.
It's a fire drill, and you just kept running and found some space that was wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you maybe even tweeted about, involved in the discussions on the tweet and everything, because I think I saw your name in conjunction with things I got dragged into too
Great.
as well.
Good. Sorry.
But like on Mahomes' interception.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, Justin Ross is completely wide open and everything. Well, Justin Ross was completely wide open because I think by and large the defensive back, safety there, and Jack Jones in particular, realized Justin Ross was the fifth progression. Ball's not going to him.
Yeah.
There's a zone, and hey, somebody can deal with that in the zone and everything. But here's a guy over here that the ball is intended for because this guy is not getting it. So I don't need to worry about him.
Yep.
So I'm going to go where the ball is going, and that's why he was able to read it because he knew ball's not going to Justin Ross. I mean, now
some of those screenshots were also taken like the
At a
ball
weird
may
time,
have been almost midair. A couple of them. Be careful with screenshots of passing plays. Everybody,
screenshots are bad.
They can lie.
They can lie. They absolutely can. But and to me, and like that's one of those cases though. I mean, Justin Ross was the fifth progression, I'm sure, in that play.
Yep.
So and it was also a timing play that was designed to get rid of the ball quickly. Yep. So the only way that Mahomes was going to be looking at Justin Ross in that situation would be if probably three linemen whiffed on their blocks, and he didn't even have the 1.5 seconds he needed to get rid of the football. It was just like everything would have to go wrong. And I think that's probably the thing with Marquez. I mean, right now, if he's the fourth or fifth progression, well, Mahomes is going back. He's going 1, 2, 3, and then he's going back to 1, 2 again. 1, 2, 3, maybe. And now, granted, we've seen him a lot go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, bail.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean that's where I think a lot of it is. I mean, once again, just where you asked 6 minutes ago, I think, is it confidence? It could be, but if it is confidence, it's probably confidence from everybody.
Yeah.
Because if you're not getting plays designed where you're the 1 or 2 in the progression, well,
your snap count is not the same thing as your trust count or your
And
number
even,
1 or number 2 read count.
And even, your targets can't even be reflective of, I mean, if we truly just knew who the progression was on each play, that would be a totally different metric than your snap count or even your targets.
That'd be great. Maybe do you think Andy would start giving us that? Maybe just after the game, like say, hey, each rep, one of you guys just go get one of your quality control guys to go through and just tell us what the progression was each play. I can't imagine NFL coaches getting defensive about that.
And sometimes it's going to change. I mean, pre-snap because you see Mahomes comes up and sees, okay, I was expecting man, we got zone here. So now I'm looking at somebody completely different, or I need to motion this guy over here to, see what's happening. A lot can change, but I mean, now are some of the things, just to put a bow on this and everything? I mean, are some of the things still true that the Chiefs right now, maybe outside of Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, don't have a true zone buster? Yeah, I mean that's probably very, very accurate. Justin Watson is a great complementary receiver. His best attribute, for the most part, is running routes that the defense has to just,
Has to respect
enough
Yeah.
to help get somebody else free.
Yep.
You know, he's eye candy.
Yep.
And you have to pay attention to him because he's just dangerous enough that if you don't pay attention to him, then Mahomes will find him and you're going to give up 27 yards.
That eye candy who's just dangerous enough is Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest, brought to you by Cap One Lending. We'll take a time out and come back, talk a little more about some Chiefs things as we look ahead to New Year's Eve against the Bengals. And also, I watched a Christmas movie that people have apparently seen before.
I really need to get your thoughts on this.
I will share that with you. I want to get your thoughts on the next great edible mascot, whatever way that
thoughts.
goes. So we'll break down all of those things and maybe even some more football with Matt Derrick when we come back in the zone. Well, Matt, I think our break conversation may have answered our pre-break tease.
Did it?
It answered one of them.
Answered one of them.
It answered one of them for sure because we, as frequently happens, this is Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest if you're just joining us. And then Reese's Cup Digest.com should start redirecting there at some point. I don't know if that exists or not yet. We talk about Reese's Peanut Butter Cups on a pretty frequent basis. Matt has brought them to us for the show before. We have talked about them on many occasions. And I asked before the break, like, what is following in the footsteps of the absolute, I'm gonna say, legend trailblazer that is the Pop-Tarts mascot. After that entire experience that we all shared last night, what's the next food item that needs to be a walking, living mascot, and what's the next mascot that needs to be edible? I think Reese's may actually have a mascot that shows up like at the Senior Bowl. They're all over that.
I think it does, yeah.
But I don't think it's edible, and I think this might be one that we could do if it's cold enough around it. A chocolate might hold up a little bit.
I don't know if an edible Reese's mascot would hold up in a dome, but
probably not.
I mean, but football weather outdoors. I mean, you can't. I don't think he'd be okay in Orlando. But
no, that might. I don't know that the temper would hold.
I mean, where's a good cold? I mean, yeah.
Well, can't be the Pinstripe Bowl, but somewhere in that area.
Yeah, well, I was actually thinking the Pinstripe Bowl would be great. They just got rid of the sponsor and got a new sponsor.
Yeah.
Exactly. It can't be. You won't want to replace the potatoes in the Boise Bowl.
This is the mascot here is throwing a football and wearing like a kind of old timey like one of those old like Acme Packers sweaters or something with a big R on the front.
I'm not. I mean, I'm saying here. I mean, that's not like gritty level of vibes, but that is absolutely giving off some violent crime vibes to me. Like, I can see that mascot actually haunting you in your sleep.
Also can play basketball, so it's a hooper. I think that's actually an improvement on what this version, which is even more horrific to me. So just the Reese's head here is like the cup. So I feel like you could definitely, definitely have one of those made out of chocolate that then a winning team could take a bite out of.
Yeah, I was really confused by the Pop-Tart thing. I mean, it was. I mean, and kudos. I mean, as the former PR guy, kudos to the people at Pop-Tart because they absolutely crushed it from an earned revenue standpoint here and earned coverage and everything. So, kudos to them. I mean, we're talking about it now, and so they've gotten their bang for their buck there. But I mean, so they put a Pop-Tart and toast. I mean, like a live Pop-Tart that was animated and living apparently, and put him into a Pop-Tart toaster, and then 3D printed out a larger. Almost, it seemed like that.
Doesn't seem like you're confused about anything. I think you nailed it. That's exactly what's so confusing about that.
I don't remember when I put my Pop-Tarts in the toaster that they come out the bottom sideways.
This is something Dylan and I have discussed that next year they're going to need to have like a helicopter with some tongs fly over and pick it up out of it.
They need those like same kind of wires and staging that the Super Bowl and Rihanna have and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it needs to go in the toaster and then come back out,
And you've got 2 slots in the toaster there, so doing the little bait and switch would be easy.
I mean, Evel Knievel has done this for years. You just fire the Pop-Tart out of the toaster.
That is an even better idea.
I'm going to lie. I mean, I didn't see any toast marks on that thing. I mean, there really needs to be some scorch marks on that frosting and everything.
I am 90% absolutely in love with everything that happened after the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and 10% of me was a little disappointed that the actual mascot costume wasn't in any way edible, and that they did do the little bait and switch that you, I think, accurately saw.
I do have a follow-up to that question, which is how many costume mascots are edible? Is that a thing?
Oh, I think 0, probably.
Okay. You just want the first one. You wanted to be the first one.
Did you hear my hour 1 proposition?
I think maybe the last half of it, so, I joined in the middle of the Pringles conversation.
I think the Pringles is the one to do. I think Reese's Cups and just doing the head, and then I think with the Pringles, the mascot, the outside of the mascot doesn't have to be edible. But you have, the Missouri Tiger come sprinting over at the giant 8-foot tall Pringles can.
As soon as the clock hits 0 and they win. Like, this is like
If there's a play under review,
it precedes the handshake on the field.
Yes, maybe it coincides. It is happening as the coach is getting dunked in Gatorade.
See, that's right there's where you lost me because, I mean, you need to dunk the coach in Pringles. I mean, it needs to be a canister of Pringles that we're dunking the coach into.
We should absolutely do that as well. We will make sure there are Pringles all over the place. And again, if they do want to pay us, you can just go ahead and call us up, and the three of us will work on this for you for an exorbitant amount of money. But 8-foot-tall Pringles can then gets blown up by the winning team's mascot, falls to the ground, and in truly grisly, horrifying fashion, the lid pops off, and Pringles just comes spilling out like a piñata, and then he just has to lay there lifeless while the rest of the team eats Pringles off the ground.
I did sense that you really want some gore and violence to this edible mascot aspect that I'm not sure that the brands are really seeking. I mean, I don't know if that's the image that you want for your brand. Is your mascot dead on the ground and people feasting on his innards?
I think the Pop-Tarts people
were we in that
it's
ballpark?
a brave new era now. Did you see the corpse?
Not see the corpse. Oh,
it's just the eye and a little bit of frosting around it.
Wow, it's
grisly.
That's very unfortunate.
It's grisly.
Yeah.
I think that we have gotten to a point where if you're a cool brand, you will figure out a way that people can kill and eat your mascot in a fun way.
I mean, I had we're talking about the Pringles. I had some great ideas for the Pringles that I was really getting enamored with. One was certainly having some of the snack size, but big versions of those on the sideline, a la the Salvation Army bell that then the players could jump into and have some Pringles in there for them after they score a touchdown.
Genius.
I'd like that.
Genius.
With your choice of words, maybe you talked about this during the portion that I did not listen to, but I do not now know how there is not a green light dispensary bowl.
Been waiting
your
on
edible
it.
mascot.
Been waiting on it. That was something that Jason walked into accidentally a couple weeks ago when talking about the edible mascot thing. I said maybe at some point we'll get an edible mascot.
That's exactly what you made me think of.
We absolutely should have the green light dispensary bowl, and everything that comes with that is an incredibly good idea. I volunteer to MC as long as the folks at Greenlight are ready to make that jump with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I do feel like, and it's a fine line because I know the Duke's Mayo Bowl really gets weird with the amount of mayo that they dump and everything. Yeah. And at some point you do feel like, wait a minute, the homeless could really use this mayonnaise or something rather than dumping it on the field. So
sure.
That's why, hey, I do like certain things that you dump. Like you dump the potatoes, you can give them to a food, but they're still edible. You can give them to the community. I mean, things. So, I do. I mean,
on the TV over your shoulder, I'm watching a Duke's mayonnaise mascot kick a can of Duke's mayo that I don't think got donated to a food bank.
But, like dumping a bunch of Ritz crackers on the field, that's a waste. I mean, I don't necessarily want even the dumping the Pringles. Although if they were just like, I don't know, memorabilia type Pringles, like artificial that you could collect and pick up off the field,
like confetti.
and save your confetti, like the Super Bowl confetti, except you're saving your I know.
Pringles. Okay, hit me.
Do you remember the pillow-shaped chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A that they were selling a few years ago?
The pillow-shaped chicken. What do you mean the pillow-shaped? Do you mean like the biscuit bites?
They had a chicken. They had like a little chicken nugget shaped pillow that they were selling.
Oh, a literal pillow.
A pillow, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, you make some little tiny ones of those, almost like Beanie Baby type size, a little smaller than that, of little just, plush chicken nuggets.
I would have one of those.
Yeah.
I would have one of those. I'm disappointed I don't have the pillow. I think I must have missed that.
They went quick.
I have to imagine. That's incredible. Right there with that Arby's sauce vodka that I tried to buy that sold out too fast.
We're not getting out of here without finding out about Christmas Vacation.
Yes. You can give your prediction in the next segment for Cheap. We can talk about Cheap Bengals next.
Yeah, we can get the football later. I mean,
we gave people 30 minutes of football off the top. This segment's for us, and the next one's for you again.
And I dumped out the notebook. I said a lot of crap that'll probably get me in trouble. So
Matt said a lot of stuff. That was a great 2023 wrap up. So most importantly, I watched Christmas Vacation for the first time at age 29. I watched it a couple days ago, and I texted Dylan and Mick and Jason to give them the heads up, and I knew we would be able to talk about it. I didn't know Jason was going to be here on Friday, so this is perfect. Here's what I figured out. Christmas Vacation, especially the first 45 minutes or so, is a movie about a dangerous father putting his family in emotional and physical distress because he's chasing the magic of his youth that he will never fully reclaim, but that is what drives him. And I get it now. I get it. That all totally tracks. And the entire first 30 to 45 minutes of just Chevy Chase just fighting trees, lights, and ladders, stupendous. I get it.
His best work, clearly. Yes.
Clearly his best work. I was worried that I might have to come in with a lukewarm review and that Jason would never speak to me again.
I was worried about that too, and I might not speak to you again. I'm still very concerned because you said that the first 45 minutes were great.
So what? And the first 45 minutes were just hits. The funniest individual moment for me in the entire movie was in the last act or near the end of the second act.
I hope it's the same one one of my favorites. But
what's your number? What's your
I want to hear your
favorite?
first because then I'll tell you which one was.
I watched this by myself.
Mine's a sight gag, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. Mine is not, I guess. Renee was gone. She had seen this movie. I had not. And she didn't really want to watch it again, so I watched it by myself in the basement. So when you're watching a movie by yourself, the threshold to laugh out loud is higher. They go through the entire process of trying to get the old aunt to say grace, and that whole thing is pulling teeth. And then eventually, she finally picks it up and starts saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
And then the cousin stands up and salutes her hand over his heart or whatever. That was a
Cousin
laugh.
Eddie's,
Cousin Eddie standing up there, and then the entire family going, Pledge allegiance to the flag. That was a laugh out loud moment for me. That might be my single favorite, but both of the early ladder gags both got me. I am #team neighbors. I think the neighbors are in the right here on most of this. Todd and Margot. I didn't realize that Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in this movie, which I guess I should have, but she's fabulous.
I mean, pre-Seinfeld, really.
I figured it would have had to have been that.
It was probably, might have been filmed around the same time as the first season, but yeah.
Just dressed like characters from The Matrix, which
post Saturday Night Live, but pre-Seinfeld. Yeah.
So I enjoyed The Neighbors very much, but overall, what my official ruling is that if it was like playing as a Christmas movie often is when you're hanging out with family or playing games or wrapping presents or whatever, I would 100% run the whole thing through in that circumstance, but I might not want to move on to the next thing until that first 30 minutes is done because there's some truly great work there. So I am fully welcoming Christmas Vacation into my Christmas movie Rolodex. That's my official ruling.
I often have them like the movie playing while I'm decorating, we're multitasking and everything like that. 'Cause I've seen it obviously, so I can just kind of listen to it and enjoy the crack ups and things that I didn't hear don't remember hearing and everything. So that once a year it's perfect. Reviewing and everything really kind of brings it back. And there's so many lovely little quotable lines that you probably now make a whole lot of sense that Jason and I have dumped on you.
Bleeping rocks, bleeping bricks. Delivered by like a 3-year-old, perfectly tremendous.
Yes. The thing's full.
Yes. Yeah.
The bleeper's
thing
full.
Is full.
Bleeper's full.
I texted. When I'll give Audrey a quarter too was said. I texted Mick and Jason and Dylan. And I said they just said I'll give Audrey a quarter too. That's the thing Jason says all the time. Who could have imagined? Who knew? But anyway, so what's your favorite moment?
This is talking about just in the last maybe half of the movie because I'm with you. Most of the solid stuff in the first half of the movie and everything.
Very
like that.
funny.
Although, Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie and the whole family made me uncomfortable. I know it's the point, but also I didn't need them to be in any more of the movie.
Yeah, and when he tells Clark he needs some money for Christmas and make sure to get yourself something too nice, real nice.
Putting the extra large bag of dog food on top of the tiny.
I didn't catch that. Jason explained that one. I missed that the first time.
He puts the little box of lights on the top of the pile, and then the massive bag of dog food crushes the lights. It's just the little things.
I got the next bag of dog food being another enormous bag of dog. I thought that was funny. I missed the lights being added in. So what's your favorite visual gag?
I guess it's a little semi-safe for radio and work and everything. Okay, but it's the holidays.
Yeah.
So. But when
spoiler alert for Christmas Vacation,
Beverly D'Angelo, when the police come in and everything, and you got the whole family there, and they come in and go freeze, and then she's right there and has her hand on Chevy Chase's crotch, and this freezes right there. And then the police come in, and then she takes her hand away to introduce, say, "Welcome to our home." Shakes her hand, and then puts her hand back.
Yes. No, that also got a chuckle from me.
Yeah.
Her definitively putting it back, freezing this. It was
putting
just
it back was just the best part.
very, very funny. So yeah, I like I said, my mom gave me clearance on this one. Also, I just blame my parents. You know, we watched It's a Wonderful Life a lot. This was a little
fine film.
This was a little raunchy for some of my
I can
youthful
understand
days.
that. I mean, there's probably a edited for television version.
Probably
that could have been
so.
appropriate for you, but that's okay. We'll you know.
I'm glad that I got to it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I got.
I'm glad that still at this point in your life it was able to have a special meaning to you.
Because especially with Christmas movies, the nostalgia is absolutely part of it. Like if It's a Wonderful Life came out right now, I'm not gonna be at the theaters to see it. But because I have decades of it being on when my family's decorating or whatever, I have a special love for that. Didn't have the nostalgia for Christmas Vacation. Still good. Still enjoyed it. We'll start watching it more.
Because the message is wonderful. I mean, you know, the message behind the movie is no matter how insane your parents are and how much they put you in danger because of the holidays, there's still love there.
Yeah.
There's family love. It is a story about family.
And it's really,
and,
I think,
and hosing over your neighbors.
And I think
and that's why I'm not Team Todd and Margot, because they're really jerks.
Yeah, but I feel like they're jerks
they have
because
a
of
bad
something
neighbor,
that Clark did earlier in their neighbor relationship.
They've been definitely wrong, but they're just so uptight. I mean, yeah, there's clearly, we need to know more about the past because something has happened.
I feel like the prequel that has they made a reboot of something I didn't know about. I'm not going to watch that, obviously.
There's only 3 of the vacation movies to see. Okay. The original,
right?
European Vacation, which European Vacation, I mean, it's okay.
Well, okay, okay.
Vacation, the original one, probably, you know, for your sensibilities, edited for TV version would probably be more.
Just because of, I don't want any of that raunchy, nasty stuff.
Don't watch that with your parents.
I won't.
So,
I think they delivered that message that you just laid out the best when he is fully in the thralls of nostalgia and family memories, and then is dropped out of the attic unexpectedly. Just really,
well, locks himself locked in the attic, and then
unceremoniously
dresses up as a squirrel. Why does he have a squirrel costume in the attic? We don't know. We don't care.
And we don't need to know.
We don't need to know.
I do need to know what you think is going to happen with Chiefs and the Bengals. That's Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest, brought to you by Cap One Lending. Yeah, we'll talk about the Chiefs with him. It's Christmas Vacation Digest right now here in the Zone Digest. on, Derek? Where you at right now on Chiefs-Bengals?
Two teams that love each other.
Huh?
One with a quarterback that apparently looks like Joe Burrow.
Just ask Spags.
One with a quarterback that used to be Patrick Mahomes.
Still bears a passing resemblance.
One really, really good defense. Until the Chiefs prove me otherwise, I'm going to have to assume that there's just not a lot of offense there. But this defense should hold down the Bengals, and especially with the talk this week, not a usually good sign for the talkers. So Chiefs 19, Bengals 16?
It's a scary neighborhood, but I think it's a neighborhood I'm in also. I don't know. I hope the Chiefs can give maybe one quarter of offense. And then
They might get one quarter of the Bengals offense.
You can give Audrey a quarter too.
He has a different view of the world. Maybe because he spent 15 years looking at it upside down. He knows exactly how many times the ball will rotate on a long snap, and he'll juggle anything you throw at him. It's Kendall Gammon in the Zone. Brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference.
The Zone rolling on today without Jason Anderson. He'll be back on Tuesday. We all got the day off on New Year's Day. Sterling Holmes will be in for us then, but I am Joshua Brisco, across the glass from Dylan Michaels, with Kendall Gammon with us now, presented by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Kendall, belated Merry Christmas, early Happy New Year. Hope your holidays have been well so far. Anything from the Christmas Day experience outside of the Chiefs kind of ruining it for us all that you enjoyed?
No, I think the Chiefs experience just ruined everything, quite honestly. And it's hard. It gives us a lot to talk about, unfortunately. But no, had a good Christmas, and obviously Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year. My wife and I, Paige, actually closed on a home, which for our realtor was a fabulous thing. For the people we had to deal with, some of the worst people ever. But all the same, we're going, and I'm looking forward to it. But I know we didn't come here to discuss my troubles. We came here to discuss the Chiefs' troubles, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we will certainly get to the Chiefs' troubles. I'm also happy to celebrate, the positive things we've got going on. The congratulations on getting to the end of that part of the House process, because that sounds miserable with nothing but good stuff, hopefully, on the other side. So I want to ask you house questions now, but I don't want you to give out your address on the air or anything.
All good. No, ask away. I am transparent as the day is long.
Do you have a room in the house that you are most excited about, either for decorating, customizing, or just being in? What's Kendall's castle?
You know what? From the house we came to this one, there's a little pantry off the kitchen, which will have a very nice coffee situation, and I'm very excited about that. So, the other thing too is the view. We were able to look. We're lakefront on Weatherby Lake, so we're able to see the lake every time we wake up and walk into the house, and it's kind of panoramic. So that's probably the best thing.
That sounds beautiful and delicious. We've been trying to upgrade our coffee situation bit by bit here, but I'll have to get your details maybe next time you're in studio with us, and you bring some photo evidence or whatever, and we can talk coffee. But we could have used some coffee on Monday morning, not just because it was Christmas, but because the Chiefs were doing a little bit of sleepwalking on their own. Before we get to everything coming up for this weekend against the Bengals, what on earth did you see happening on Christmas Day with the Raiders at Arrowhead?
Man, I mean, just from the word go, well, actually, right away I was like, okay, when Chris Jones gets that sack, and I think the first play or whatever early on, it's like, okay, here we go. But from there, it was downhill the wrong way, and I just didn't have a good feeling. And you could just see that they're having a hard time manufacturing points. And even in the past, when the offense wasn't clicking, they could get to 21 or 24. And right now, that's very difficult, and probably for reasons we're going to discuss. But man, where do you start? I mean, on an offense that, for me, maybe another disconcerting thing was the one touchdown we scored was kind of on a gadget play, quite honestly, even though it was Pacheco around the left side. And then the fumble for a touchdown to the Raiders, that was a gadget play as well. And it was just like, is that what we're having to resort to right now? And it appears so.
It really does. I mean, your sort of rhetorical question of where do we start is also literally my first question to you, because the gadgety stuff working and then backfiring in the way that it did, I think, is really interesting. So let's just start there. I haven't seen the Chiefs run some of the basic offensive stuff, just building block stuff, with a level of efficiency that you like to see from an NFL offense. Where do the basics get derailed right now? And is there any way to fix the basics of an offense on New Year's Eve?
We say it each week, which is we are what we are. It's hard to think that it's going to change too much. It has to change if they want to do something in the playoffs. You've got to believe that they're going to win one of these two games and get that division title wrapped up. But, I don't say that with as much confidence as I used to, even though I do think they'll win this week. But I don't know. I mean, because I think the offense has had to be simplified because of the wide receiver situation and not being able, it appears, to read coverages on the run and be in sync with Patrick and be, as they say, Patrick friendly. And so I don't know. I think it's going to be Big Red having to get on the window and draw things up like Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind and come up with stuff that puts the defense of the opponent on on the defensive, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It's hard.
Yeah. It also concerns me that I feel like, I mean, to the trick play point even, Andy Reid's been working on that window for a while, and that stuff isn't getting executed well enough. And for whatever that's worth, I don't know how you're kind of handicapping the coaching job, because Andy Reid certainly is signing off on the major offensive personnel decisions at bare minimum, and I think he's still plenty involved, but lets Brett Veach handle a lot of the day-to-day kind of roster churn stuff or whatever. But when you look at Matt Nagy as the offensive coordinator, and then even going up to the top with Andy Reid, is this team maximizing what they have? Are they paying their sins for a roster that wasn't as good as we thought it would be? Where do you look there as the offense tries to just diagnose what truly went wrong?
You know what? As I look at it, I think I go all the way back to the fact that they weren't able to sign Chris Jones and free up some space. And I think their plan was to go get a wide receiver at that point in time. That didn't happen. They put on a happy face, and I think we're convinced that the receivers they had could be enough, because the only one they lost really was Juju. So you would think that at least some semblance of production would be there, but it just hasn't. And so I just think some of the plans went wrong for a myriad of reasons going way, way back.
What is it like right now in the locker room, if you had to imagine or to draw back on your time, and when this is a version of the Chiefs we've never seen have a stretch like this? They've gone 3-5 in their last 8 games, going back through that Broncos loss. That's not a stretch that this team is familiar with. What's the energy in there got to be like, and what do the leaders need to do to try to keep it from getting absolutely sour in there?
Well, I think they're fine. They've got the right kind of locker room leadership. And I don't know specifically what they're doing, obviously, because we're not inside those 4 walls. But drawing on my time, really, it goes back to Coach Cowher and the Steelers in a few years where we had some rough runs. And, the meetings are a little more tense. They're a little bit more focused. But when you're in the locker room, I mean, you're still fairly normal. There's probably not a lot of basketball going on in the Chiefs locker room right now, as much as there used to when things were going on. And for those of you who don't know, I don't know. Maybe the basketball goal's been uninstalled. I'm not sure.
No, they were played a few weeks back, somewhere before the losing streak went bad. Yeah, I think maybe before the Dolphins game in that week, before they went to Germany. Okay.
It's probably not as boisterous as it normally is. But in there, you're still kind of normal. But there's just generally it's a little bit lower key. It's a little bit more focused, and you hope it is, because that's the one thing they've got to do. This team, still, whenever you have Patrick Mahomes, I don't think his skills have diminished. Things just aren't clicking right now on the wide receiver side of things, and even with Travis a little bit. But I just think you just have to keep going out there, because anytime you have him, you've still got a chance. And that, coupled with the defense, that's why I keep picking the Chiefs and keep thinking, okay, it's hard to think that something can't come alive. I know one thing, obviously we would think they're going to be on the road and they don't get the number 1 seed as well. That being said, I know nobody wants to play the Chiefs in the playoffs. So this week, after this debacle that was the Las Vegas loss, it'll be interesting to see how they respond in Arrowhead.
Yeah, it will. And so before we kind of shift into some more of the specifics, one more coaching kind of thing that we may have asked you about at some point over these last several weeks, but it keeps going in the same direction. So I can't remember if we've gotten your full kind of angle on this. A lot of the narrative now, whatever, just the conversation. I don't think there's some big, shadowy organization pulling all the strings here. But one of the big conversations has been in the loss of Eric Bieniemy. You replace him as the offensive coordinator with Matt Nagy, and I'm judging not from the meeting rooms because I haven't been in them, but I'm judging from press conferences and sideline demeanor and stuff like that. Andy Reid and Matt Nagy and Connor Embry and a lot of the offensive coaches at this point kind of seem to have inherited Andy Reid's cool, level-headed, same everyday kind of demeanor, which I time and time again players have said is a positive thing day in, day out in a long season. I'm not saying that's a negative thing, but Eric Bieniemy was kind of the fiery, detail-oriented accountability guy. That's been kind of, again, the buzzwords going around now. But also, a lot of people talking about football played football most recently in high school or maybe college. And I know things are different at the NFL level. I don't imagine that Travis Kelce needs Tom Melvin to scream at him, So from your perspective, playing in the league and being around multiple position groups and seeing how all that works together, what's the right makeup of a coaching staff in terms of guys who are level-headed and consistent versus guys who are fiery and can heat up a little bit?
You know what? I always preferred the guys that were just consistent and told you how it was going and didn't disrespect you. And I don't think the fiery coaches are disrespecting you, but sometimes people take it the wrong way. I think it's fine to have a mix and have those coaches. And I know what we're talking about maybe a little bit is like an Eric Bieniemy, but I think it's fine if everybody's level-headed. That being said, the defensive coaches are never level-headed because defensive is just, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
Defense is just a different mentality than offense and how you deal with things. That's what I've seen throughout my career. I played football until I was 37, and I can define people by what position they played in football. And it's easy to do, and it never fails. And if you ask most any football player, they will tell you basically the same thing. That being said, I think anytime you have Andy Reid as a mentor, I think one of the best coaches of all time, quite honestly, I think the best coach of all time, but I know that's arguable. You can't go wrong, looking at him and trying to pattern yourself after him to a degree. And I think that's what we're probably seeing. I think that's what you started the question out with. Yeah. And I understand as fans, and I'm one as well. We want to see stuff. We want to see things happening, and we want to dig into everything. But sometimes, I mean, the coaches coach, they tell them what to do, where to be, what to do, and at what time. But ultimately, between the white lines, it's the players. And, sometimes if you don't have the horses that can't figure it out or get it done quite yet, you're really at a disadvantage.
Hard left turn, just since you bragged about how long you played in the NFL, a thing that you should brag about every single day. Joe Flacco, 38 years old, turns 39 in a few weeks. I don't know how much of the game you saw last night or over just the last few weeks, but what on earth is happening? Joe Flacco came off the couch hanging out with his kids, and now he looks like he might legitimately have a shot of playing in an AFC championship game. We might get Ravens-Browns Joe Flacco revenge game. Does that amaze you as much as it amazes me right now what Joe Flacco's doing?
Amazed is an understatement. It's a great story. I mean, if you'd went to the beginning of the season and said, okay, here's what's going to happen in the last 2 weeks of the season is the Browns are going to have a better record than the Chiefs. And wait for it. They're going to have 4 quarterbacks that get a win, which is the first time ever in the NFL. And their starting QB is going to be Joe Flacco. And they'll be like, no, Joe's retired. He's on this couch. No, he's going to be there. And then they're going to say, also, he's going to throw for 265 yards to one receiver, franchise record in Amari Cooper. I mean, all that stuff, you can't make that up. And that is why the NFL is beautiful. The Cleveland Browns, they are known as the factory of sadness right there. But you know what? Not right now. What's going on? This is a great story.
It really is, and it also is, to bring it all full circle, so frustrating to watch the Browns offense and watch Joe Flacco throwing the ball. Again, last night, no Amari Cooper. Just throwing the ball to dudes, oh, David Njoku, that's fantastic. He's having huge games. And to watch their offense hum the way it has, but, man, just what an incredible story. And then we can go ahead and look at another team from the AFC North who the Chiefs left to take on Sunday. I got to tell you, Kendall, we're talking about Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals, and I don't know how to feel right now. The Chiefs are still a 7-point favorite, but almost nothing would surprise me in this game other than maybe a Chiefs offensive explosion.
You're exactly right. I apologize. I know very little to nothing about Jake Browning, and that's not a side to him. I just haven't paid attention to them, and they played well for a while, although as of late, not as much. But they've got some injury issues, and we'll wait and see how that pans out for game time. But, man, you would think coming into Arrowhead, that's a tall task for them. That being said, nothing they would love to do more than spoil the chances of the Chiefs. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's hard for me until they show it. It's hard for me to think that the Chiefs are going to put more than 21 points on the board. And if they did, we should win, as long as we don't put 22 points on the board through an offensive miscues for the Bengals.
The confidence that you have in the defense right now has to be pretty close to maximum capacity, right? I mean, as frustrating as the offense has been, I don't even want to imagine what this team would look like if they had an average defense right now.
No, that's the only thing that has kept them afloat this year. And I think on the New Heights podcast, you guys have made you probably played some of it, but I liked how Travis Kelce reacted towards everything, and he's very irritated. He's using a lot of different words that come to a lot of our minds, but the fact that he talked to he talked about the defense and everything they're doing. I can really appreciate that. And I don't know. I just keep going back to the really interested to see how this game pans out this week, how they start off. And I think we will see early offensively if they've changed anything up or if they're still trying to scheme and do things and just feel like they've got to try to manufacture things.
We're talking to Kendall Gammon in the zone here, brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. What can the Chiefs prove to you in this game? How much of a believer can they turn you into? Also noting that, for all of our lack of confidence in the Chiefs' offense, the Bengals' defense has been a problem. Mason Rudolph and George Pickens put up 30-something against this Bengals team last week. 34. Yeah. There you go. And a Bengals team that has been, again, playing pretty good even with Browning out there. But how much can the Chiefs' offense move the needle for you if they do come out and they look competent? Do they need big plays? What is it you'll be looking for?
You know what? A big plays would be nice because that is one of the big things with the NFL is getting chunk plays, and the Chiefs have had very few of them. I think basically if they can just put points on the board, even bad defenses, they're still NFL defenses. So if you put some points up, you're doing something. If they can do that and the defense can continue to do how we played the way they've been playing, that's huge. But probably my number one thing is that they need to be positive on the turnover ratio. For the Chiefs to be tied for last in the league and still be where they're at says a little something about the team. But my goodness, if it was just halved, who knows what the record would be right now. But it's not, and they've got to prove that they can hold on to the ball. And that's it's not a criticism, but it is an observation, which is the one thing you would like the defense to do more is to try to turn the ball over. I know they're always trying.
Is there more of a science to that? McDuffie has put his either his head or his hands on the football a couple of times, and we've seen it here or there. But they are turning the ball over again, creating turnovers at a rate much lower than you would expect for a defense that's been as good as they are. Is that player type? Is that a coaching thing? Is that the luck of turnovers being kind of random?
I think it's the random thing. It's just the sample size, and these things generally even out. But that's. Again, I don't know how to answer that one very well just because I've never been on the defensive side of the ball. But, I know having watched it, every day they always work on, punching the ball out, ripping the ball out. First person gets, goes after the tackle. Anybody else after that, you're trying to get the ball. So things like that. And then also, your defensive pursuit where if the ball goes away from you, you take an angle towards the ball. So if it does come out, even if you didn't make the tackle, you're around to hopefully get on that loose ball. So that's what I think it comes down to.
I'll take you back to the offensive side, and in part because of something that a fellow Kansas City Chiefs special teams legend said, because Dante Hall was on Good Morning Football, and we played the clip yesterday and talked about it some, and we all obviously love and have tremendous memories of Dante Hall, but he was talking about what he wanted to see from Mahomes in terms of taking even more of the check down stuff. Now, obviously, this offense has not been forcing deep shots or trying to hit big plays at the rate of past years. How do you kind of square that circle in terms of what you need to see from them trying to create big plays more, and if you would agree or disagree in terms of the way that Mahomes has been targeting the field this year? Because against the Raiders, again, no offense to the legendary human joystick, but against the Raiders, the ball barely ever went past 10 yards downfield.
Yeah, I don't know. Dante's got a better take on that as well, and man, when we start talking offense and the Chiefs, my mind starts to wonder. So I'm not even sure if I understood everything. I'm tongue in cheek a little bit, but it does have to be. It does have to be a threat.
Yeah.
I remember the one thing the late Len Dawson, Lenny the Cool. I remember him talking about it all the time. He goes, yeah, you want to get passes downfield and catch them, and that's huge, but either way, even if you're not catching them, it has to be a threat, because otherwise they just pack things in, and now all of a sudden you really can't deal with anything because they're not afraid of that threat. And that's one thing I just never forgot. So we'll see. Kadarius, well, no, I'm not going to talk about that. I just can't go there. But all the same, it's got to be a threat. But that being said, right now it seems like the opponents are just content to sit back and just make sure that the big plays don't happen. Make sure the ball's thrown in front of them. Go make the tackle. Don't give up the chunk yardage. And then basically just don't let Kelsey beat you is, I think, their mantra. If Kelsey doesn't beat you, then good luck with anybody else trying to beat you.
One more offensive thing here, because I just was reminded of talking to some of the guys who have gone back through the film again and have agreed on a bizarre thing that I did not necessarily expect to be a part of this season. But they report back that there were numerous times where Marquez Valdez-Scantling was open downfield, and Patrick Mahomes either didn't see him or saw him and decided not to go with the ball there. That, to me at least, seems like the culmination of the trust issues that built up with him not being in the spots Mahomes wanted him to be in or dropping deep passes. How does a quarterback and a receiver, how do they build that trust back up? If you're in there and you're seeing the issues that Mahomes and MVS have had, but also noting that MVS has been getting open more than some of these other receivers, is that a problem that's fixable before the clock on the season runs out?
I don't think so. I think that's an off-season thing, quite honestly. And I mean, the sample size, again, is too big, so you know what you're getting to a degree. I haven't seen everything, and I do question sometimes when people think that receivers are open. But sometimes I wonder whether did they see that after maybe he's looked another way, or he's thrown the ball and all of a sudden somebody's broke on it. So after the fact, you see them open. Now, I don't know the context of everything. I think that happens a lot. But either way, to answer your question to begin with, which is no, I don't think at this point in time you change anything. It just comes down to dealing with what you've got and getting through your progressions. If he's number one in the progression, he probably will throw it if he's absolutely open. But again, who knows?
Last thing on this game, then, do you have a score prediction for us? Are we still all taking the Chiefs in low-scoring games? Is that where we're at?
I think so. I'm going to take the Chiefs 21-17, and until they show me that they can get there, I just can't go any higher.
Actual last question. When was the last time you had a Pop-Tart? What is the best Pop-Tart flavor?
Oh, I think strawberry has to be the Pop-Tart of flavor for me, and it may have been at least a decade. So I'm going to tell you right now, I love a good Pop-Tart, but I just haven't got them as of late. Not exactly the healthiest of food,
no.
But you know what? One every once in a while is not bad.
I was on a really, really long streak of not eating any Pop-Tarts, and then because of K-State, I've had people literally throwing Pop-Tarts to me for the last couple of days, and I've been eating them, and they are wonderful. What's the next mascot that you think we need an edible version of? Or alternatively, what's the next food item that needs a mascot that can be edible?
Oh my goodness! If I've been asked that one time, I've been asked that one time. So, boy, you need to prepare me because I don't have an answer for that one.
I've been thinking
right
about
now.
it a lot. I'll stall for you.
What have you come up with? Yes.
I think the Pop-Tart that I've eaten most recently is an Eggo waffle flavored Pop-Tart, and I think just give me a waffle mascot and then have that sucker throw itself into a toaster and die before we eat it after a bowl game. That'd be very high on the list for me. And then this would be tougher, just I think from a food science perspective. But I would love a giant like a giant wing or a giant drumstick, just a buffalo chicken. I think it would have to be boneless, just because of the sort of food science needs. But some sort of chicken stuff I would also really enjoy.
You know what? You are you're a thought guy. You're a thinker. You're an innovator, is what you are. The waffle, the egg, I associate it with Eggo waffles, but those waffles, I think that's absolutely the one because those are fabulous.
Okay, well, if anyone's listening right now, this is our intellectual property, and you can write a check to me and Kendall Gammon, and you can go ahead and have that idea for a nice low price that our collective agents will help negotiate. Kendall,
hey Josh.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping.
No,
I'm jumping in. Can I give my realtor a shout out?
Yes, absolutely, sure.
Absolutely. I just want to say thanks to Audra Heller and Associates. Audra, you went above and beyond with everything. Thank you so much. And just so you folks know, not being paid to do this. This is somebody who just dealt with me for the last month, and it was fabulous. So Audra Heller and Associates, thank you.
Sometimes you end up in those situations with people. You develop some lifelong bonds as you have to figure things out, like what to do at the house. So I very much I can only imagine that was a worthwhile, well-earned shout out and a worthwhile process. I hope for you guys.
Appreciate it very much, man.
Kendall, you're the man. Thanks for joining us as always. Have a very happy new year. Enjoy the new home. And, God, I'd love to talk to you next week about the Chiefs clinching the AFC West. We will find out, I suppose.
Can't wait.
That's Kendall Gammon, presented by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen, recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals and experience the Crown difference. A lot of things from offense to defense to special teams to Eggos, Pop-Tarts, whatever. I will continue to have this conversation for as long as we can. Not about the Chiefs wide receivers not being on the same page as Patrick Mahomes, but what kind of mascots we'd like to eat. We'll take a break here in the zone. Jason Anderson out today. Joshua Brisco is my name. Dylan Michaels on the other side of the glass. More zone rolling on next. willing to bet on the Chiefs to figure a little bit out, but not overly Pollyanna-ish in terms of the Chiefs' offensive issues. I am expecting a blowout prediction from Mick Schaefer. Not yet, Mick. You don't have to declare your affiliation yet.
For the Chiefs game?
Yeah, I'm expecting
Bengals.
you to follow the path that has worked so well for you recently, which is to just assume that the Chiefs aren't going to magically get better between a Monday and a
As
Sunday.
it works, is there a prize I get for getting any game right? Is there any sort of reward?
If you took that to DraftKings, they will give you a reward for it, kind of.
I'm not as bold when it comes to my money.
I know,
I'll
me
run
neither.
my mouth, just not my money.
And it's your money maker, but also you don't want to then lose that to your bold predictions. I understand. You know what I'm happy to spend my money on now? Pop-Tarts. My life has been changed.
It's taken the world over, really, this Pop-Tart Bowl. To answer the right question is the Biscuits and Gravy Bowl. That is the mascot I'm going to eat next.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, we probably need to get a company.
Yeah.
But Avocados for Mexico is just...
Eggo Bowl. Eggo Bowl.
Eggo Bowl.
I feel like they probably had one by now, haven't
Eggo
they?
Bowl is one that we talked about because I was eating Eggo Pop-Tarts as I sent you the info on. I feel like a Eggo mascot, a big toaster. You could use the same toaster again if you want. That feels like that's the future, but a Biscuits and Gravy Bowl would be stupendous.
Sign me up. That was you tried the Pop-Tarts with the butter, right?
Yes, I had 4 Pop-Tarts yesterday. My pancreas is still confused. I had room temperature Pop-Tart, cold Pop-Tart, toasted Pop-Tart,
yes,
buttered Pop-Tart.
Toasted? That was toasted. Though,
Toasted,
right?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. And toasted peanut buttered Pop-Tart.
Let's go.
I love peanut butter. I could have spread it thinner. Would have probably. It was a little. I went very peanut butter heavy. I kind of folded it, made a little peanut butter sandwich out of it. It was very good.
Yeah. I'm down.
But the butter on a Pop-Tart, I don't know if anyone ever told me about this, but it was very good.
I mean, like, people are floored by this. But I'm like, it's a pastry.
Yeah.
And there's jelly on it. It's like butter and jelly on toast.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of frosting there, but it makes it even better.
I think
let's go.
You can either my butter out of the fridge, as I sent you the video of me applying said
Do you want
butter.
knives for Christmas or like some cutlery that I can get you, because that was sad.
So here's twofold on this video that I sent you. One, I was going for some amount of comedic effect, but two, it was my second time filming that exact video. The first time,
what was the
butter.
joke? What was the comedic?
Just me,
how bad you were with the
being
knife?
bad. Just like flopping a knife on a Pop-Tart with cold butter
And you had
stuck
the
to the
smallest
blade.
pat of cold butter
Yes.
on the butt. I'm like, have you ever used a knife before? I'm glad that was a bit then.
Room temperature butter would have gone a lot better, but it was a bit that I had to redo at least once because the bit didn't work at all the first time, and I just had to admit defeat and be like, all right, well, I guess we'll try this again. I need to do it slightly better to even get any butter on this Pop-Tart.
Yeah. No, I posted a picture of my buttered Pop-Tart with the country crock right there and the K-State game in the background. So half the sanctimonious people on X, right, we're all self-righteous about butter, Pop-Tart. Oh, my God. The other half were like, that's not even real butter. Shut up. Shut up. Go do something else with
You're
your
not
life.
cooking with it. It's probably fine.
Listen, and like get like mayo and Miracle Whip. They taste the same to me. Butter and country crock, whatever, tastes the same to me. It's butter, it's mayo. Shut up, move on. Find something else.
I'm looking at the picture here now. I do think I think again I had the Eggo waffle like maple Pop-Tart. Slam dunk with the butter because you're putting butter on waffles and stuff also. Yeah. Butter with the fruit flavor. You got to go jelly and butter energy as you've discussed. Have you put butter on a chocolate Pop-Tart yet?
No, I don't. I'm not. I would eat a chocolate Pop-Tart. I'm not gonna find it out. I'm not gonna look for it. I'm fine.
I think we might have some. I think Renee might have some. I really, truly, this is not a joke. The last 3 of the 4 Pop-Tarts I've eaten over the last 2 days, the last 3 of them, all of them just eventually led to a point where all of my phone was yelling at me like, hey, dumbass, your blood sugar is like 285. What did you eat a Pop-Tart? What is wrong with, who do you think you are? And I'm still going to confront this challenge one more time, even potentially to great health detriment to myself. They need to try the buttered on the chocolate one.
Okay,
I don't know that. I don't know that it's going to make it better or not, but I was just curious.
And then you can. I mean, you don't have to put it on the frosted side. You can put it on the bottom.
I think that makes more
frosted
sense.
Side. Yeah,
I think that seems good. It absorbs into the pastry more that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I played poker last night after the show, and I got to my buddy's house, and they had a bunch of, snacks and stuff. And one of them they had boxes of apple Fruit Loops Pop-Tarts. One of the specialty brands. For me, it's strawberry Pop-Tart, and then way down in second place is maybe blueberry, and then way down after that is, cinnamon. Strawberry's my jam, so to speak.
Where's brown cinnamon sugar? Where's that?
When you said cinnamon, is that what? Okay,
Yeah,
brown
okay.
sugar,
Oh,
cinnamon.
yeah,
Okay,
gotcha.
Yeah.
I've not. These Apple Jacks ones here are alluring. I like the blueberry one. I haven't had a blueberry one in a minute. I like the blueberry one.
Deal with it.
Strawberry one is good. I think for me that's the OG. That's what the mascot was. Right. So you have to respect it, but I don't think it can be my favorite because I feel like I'm gonna come up with the wacky.
They
the wacky
used to,
favorite.
and I'm not keeping track anymore. They used to have a lot of just kind of seasonal flavors and stuff that they would have out for a while that were fun, like the Oreos do now. You can find every flavor of anything in Oreo. You could do a jalapeno Oreo if you wanted. You could do taco
So
Oreos.
many
I'm
Oreos.
sure are out there.
We should do a little Oreo tasting at some point. I gotta think of these before we're actively doing the show because the
It's called
Oreo
planning.
taste test.
You should do some of that planning.
You would have seen my rundown today.
Yeah. That's so good.
It's an empty legal pad. I've written down nothing today. It was just vibes. I saw someone tweet about this last night, and I don't know where you fall on this flavor combination. So I'm
a picky eater.
I know. I don't think this one's gonna land for
Seafood?
you.
Is it seafood Pop-Tart?
It is. It is
I
a
love
shrimp Pop-Tart. I bet you would adore it. Somebody tweeted, and I've since verified it, that at one point there was a special edition flavor of Pop-Tarts, mint chocolate chip.
No. Here's the deal. I don't like Thin Mints that much.
I think we've talked about
like
this.
mints and
Yeah.
chocolate together. That's not a combination I'm down for. I get everybody was crazy over the
You want a
Girl
York,
Scout
you want a York
cookies.
patty?
Oh yeah, give me two.
Yeah, okay.
Crazy over the Girl Scout cookies Thin Mints. I'm like, there are 5 different flavors, other flavors that are better than that.
You know what? Here's where I'm going to meet you halfway. Right
I
here
like
at this-
mints. I like chocolate. I don't need them together.
Right here at this York patty here in the middle. Here's where I'll meet. And you know,
Okay.
hey, you know what, Mick? You know what you're being right now?
A snowflake.
It's the snowflake York patty. Let's go. I think Thin Mints might be a little overrated because I will get them every time. I'll get a box of Thin Mints, but I will house those things so quickly, and then I don't know that they don't have the body of what's the coconut and chocolate little round ones, Samoas. Are those the
Yes.
samosas?
Oh, yes.
I can't remember. One of them is a
they've got
place and one of them is a
Samoas
cookie, I think.
have the something like that.
Something
they have
like
the
that.
coconut. Yes.
There are cookies. There are Girl Scout cookies that do stand up as a cookie. Thin Mint is like a totally different thing. It just is a Thin Mint.
I don't need the mint. I just eat the chocolate cookie. I don't need the mint. It makes it worse.
It's a refreshing. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why. I have
my
had
breath to smell good after eating a cookie.
I have had this battle before, and I'm not defending mint chocolate from a place where I think it needs to be defended because I don't even understand it for myself. But I have such a Christmassy correlation. Have you gotten peppermint mocha yet? As you've gone through your coffee journey?
No, that's a similar thing. I
Well,
don't need the mint.
it's the exact same thing, but I'm curious if it does anything different for you in coffee form. Because I'm wondering if that's what it goes back to for me. I don't know, but I love a mint
Another
chocolate thing.
QT cinnamon roll coffee this morning. It's like drinking a cinnamon roll.
So I got to get one of those. I haven't had one of those yet. You can make an edible cinnamon roll mascot.
That's a great one.
That's a great one, right
Cinnamon
there.
roll, the Cinnabon bowl.
You get the Cinnabon bowl, and then at the end, you don't chop it up. You just unravel it around and around and
Oh,
around
that'd
and
be great.
around, and then in the middle is the trophy.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom!
New bowl game.
You're welcome, Cinnabon.
Hey, can I put butter on my cinnamon roll, or are people going to attack me?
I don't know that I understand the country crock thing. I don't really care. Would you just not have
real,
butter?
It's not real butter.
Would you not prefer real butter? Do you prefer this?
Oh,
Is
I'd
there-
much
you
rather
don't-
prefer country crock. Do you
Over
use the
actual
real
butter?
The pat, the long rectangular butter? Is that what you use? That's a hassle, by the way. It's so
you mean-
messy. You take the paper off and everything.
You mean butter? That is
Yeah.
the butter I use.
You
is
mean
butter.
It's not out of a tub?
No. Maybe that's why
Why?
it's in the fridge. It was because it's
so much easier out of the tub. It tastes better at Country Crock. Are you kidding me?
I don't know that I've ever
That's
bought
why
Country
you
Crock.
sent me that video, because it's the butter's like rock hard.
It was definitely rock hard butter.
It's going to take 20 minutes for any melting to begin.
I should have taken it out of the fridge if I would have had, planning. Never really been my strong suit.
Yeah, so I don't want to take the butter out of the fridge 20 minutes before. I'm not even hungry at that point. Take it out, and then you have to peel the paper off. You get it all over your fingers, and then you have to get the right amount. You have to cut it off the right amount, and then it just sticks there in the middle, and you hope that it melts out to the rest of the piece of toast. Get out of here.
How messy are
Get
your
outta
hands
here.
getting trying to open a thing of butter? Because it sounds like you might be doing it wrong. Are you like squeezing are you just like wringing it out? And you squeeze? It's not a piping bag. You don't have to squeeze it out.
Listen, I've seen you operate a knife with butter, okay? You shouldn't be casting dispersions right here, okay? No,
fair.
it's just I would rather take the lid off. Nope,
No.
done. That's all. I can spread it out all over the toast or any pastry, the Pop-Tart.
No, that makes sense. It also gives you a larger margin for error.
Do you know why there's Pop-Tarts and not Mom-Tarts?
Why?
Because of the patriarchy.
I think this is the
That's
best
for both
segment.
of you. I was late. so.
No, this is exactly what we needed. Thank you, Dylan. Let's go ahead and just ride that high into the break. Unless you have one, Dylan. You have an incredible Pop-Tart pun. I feel like we need a third one. Third one for the break. All right, Mick and I are gonna sit here in perfect radio silence, trying to think of another Pop-Tart pun, and then icing on the icing on the tart. More like, hey, this segment more like poop tart. That bowl game more like the punt tart return bowl.
I saw that tweet from you.
Oh God, I already used that one, and you were the only one who saw it apparently, because nobody else thought it was very funny.
I mean, I didn't like it or anything.
No, I know. I check every time I put out a tweet. I go and look and see if you've liked it or not, because your validation is really important to me. Sometimes you get two great jokes, and it's like that's all you should ever ask for from a radio show, right? You got a third joke in there somehow?
It's two more than usual.
Yeah, we are infinitely more successful in our puns than usual, because it's 2 times 0 is sort of infinite, or 0, I guess.
Yeah. Now, this segment was toast a long time ago.
Yeah, out of the frying pan into the toaster. Crumbling at the end. Margarine for error. Did you say the patriarchy thing again?
Patriarchy.
Margarine for error. The zone. I didn't fully realize how many people in your mentions, Mick, in your mictions. There you go. There's another wordplay. And let's take a break. I didn't realize how many people appeared disgusted by the butter on a Pop-Tart thing.
X, it's Twitter. People have to appear disgusted by everything.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's just a weird hill to die on. But
How
to
would
your
you
point,
know they're good people? You know?
Yeah,
You're
that's
not overly mad about everything online.
That's a good point. I do respect all of them more for being mad about it. That
And
is
probably
how that
most of them
works.
are like tongue in cheek, right? I would know people.
I don't think so. I mean,
when we get mad about what people like when it comes to food, I would hope that it's more just conjecture, and not like we're really serious about it.
I think for the most part that's true. I think when you disrespect a cut of meat, I think that brings out a level of
people
vitriol.
get so mad.
That might be real. If you really murder a brisket. Anything less than that, though, I feel like it's just a little food
when they have the
mashup.
test of like, okay, from rare all the way through burnt, and like pick 1 through 7, right, for your steak. When I pick 7 for burnt, they get really mad.
Yeah. And I understand but it's what you're eating. It's fine.
I mean, it's not in your mouth.
It's right. It's not in
It's
my
not
mouth.
in your mouth.
Your steak is not
I'm not
in my mouth.
putting it in your mouth.
And that's important to remember.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I ask. It's like with Dan Orlovsky is like his entire brand is in part like I eat like a child, and he just eats only like beige food or whatever.
He's in great shape for that.
And I know. I don't know where that. I mean, he eats
also-
boiled chicken every day. Like that's all he does.
I've learned he also doesn't shower much. He
Yeah.
talks about that. Yeah.
Doesn't shower much. Doesn't wash his towel much. I don't know. So he's got an entire brand of sort of just like slightly vile.
Yeah.
But that's just part of it, and he does pretty good analysis on top of it. So degree of difficulty going up, I guess. What's your shower schedule like, Mick?
But once a day usually.
Okay. You a morning shower or night shower guy?
I am a morning shower guy. I don't think it makes full sense, right? You're done with the day. You should shower before you go to bed and get in the sheets and everything. But I'm just tired. Just want to go to bed. And in the morning, I need to wake up.
Yeah.
So I get in the shower. That wakes me up.
This is my similar strategy. I mean, if I'm doing some yard work, or if I'm working out or whatever, or flying to space, 3 things I don't do very often, then yeah, I'll take a shower before. I'm not gonna be maximum gross getting into bed. But I think the morning shower, I'm washing off the previous day and the night. Sometimes you get a little night sweat or whatever.
Well,
I want to be fresh in the morning.
I feel like if you shower at night, most of the time you're gonna have to shower twice a day because a lot of people will work out in the morning, right? Go for a little, get on the treadmill, whatever. Go for a jog, lift some weights. You're gonna want to shower after that before you go to work. So it's 2 showers per day. I'm a conservationist at heart.
Yeah.
If nothing, right? I'm here about saving water.
I didn't even know you could work out before you went to work in the morning. That seems. Is that what Lebo's been doing?
That is.
Oh wow, that's so
skinny.
I just sort of imagined that
he lost so much weight, so much hair.
It's really working out great for him. Finally committed to that look. I think it's really good. Hey, Adam Teicher tweeted out photographic evidence in more than enough pixels that Isaiah Pacheco is on the practice field for the Chiefs today wearing a helmet.
Might be an LP.
Could be a little LP today. And if he goes DNP, LP, maybe they let him play on Sunday. Obviously, no Jerick McKinnon. Clyde probably, I'm guessing if he wasn't out there, somebody would have tweeted about it. But we will hear Andy Reid's Fast Friday. I don't know if there'll be anybody else at the podium or not. Haven't seen that yet. But we'll hear from Andy Reid in a couple of minutes on the other side of this timeout. We'll find out what the injury plan is. Also, seems reasonable that McCole Hardman might come back for this game. That'll probably fix everything. We're grasping at straws here. Yeah, I think that's... Here's the thing. Unsarcastically, McCole Hardman might immediately be their second best wide receiver.
I don't think there's any mind about it.
And that's one way of looking at it.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
We'll head out to Arrowhead here any minute now to hear from Andy Reid. Might get some player audio from the locker room later on, I suppose, but it'll just be Andy Reid at the podium and most likely delivering some injury updates. Again, Isaiah Pacheco was spotted at practice, most likely in a limited role and certainly in a lighter work day on what will be a Fast Friday from Andy Reid. But we'll find out where they end up in terms of that running back rotation. It would be nice to have Isaiah Pacheco playing.
Yeah, it's two of them. Not zero.
Yeah.
Like CEH and Pacheco out there.
Yeah, I haven't seen if Edwards-Helaire was back today. I would imagine he probably was. Illness yesterday, right? And it sounded like a sort of a, hey, go get right back there. Hold on here real quick. Did not see, Jesse Newell says, did not see Snead, Tony, Clyde, or Donovan Smith.
Oh, wow.
So, Donovan Smith probably to be expected. No Kadarius Toney to be expected. L'Jarius Sneed not even getting out there for some walkthrough limited work today. Not a great sign. And Jamar Chase probably not worried about it.
So I don't know who they can get to pick up 1 yard on 2nd and 10 now. Those guys are missing backfield.
They had to sign P. Ryan to the active roster contract spot because he's been elevated 3 times. And when McKinnon went to IR, they elevated P. Ryan. They've also elevated Deneric Prince 3 times, which leaves the former Cardinals running back whose name I'm constantly forgetting for some reason. My apologies. I'll figure it out. I'll be better. I'm just a tick off.
I know it. I'm just waiting for you to find out.
It's like, I want to say Kieran Williams, but I think that's a different player. It's definitely
about this year?
Yeah, no, hold on. Mick's not going to tell me.
DeMarcado?
No, I don't think so. Keontae Ingram. There we go.
Guys are getting close.
Keontae Ingram. Good Lord. He hasn't been in the active roster yet, so apparently he's wearing number 30. The roster I was looking at didn't even have a jersey number for him yet, so he would probably have to be a game day elevation at this point because they're not going to sign Prince to an active roster spot for just like one game. So maybe you see Keontae Ingram end up out there, but that's where we're at right now, and it's not great. Yeah, it's not ideal. Because if Clyde is still sick on Sunday and Pacheco is still in the concussion protocol on Sunday, your starting running back will be LaMichael P. Ryan, who I think still only has, did he get a carry against the Raiders? I think he may have gotten one.
He's a cousin to Samaje P. Ryan.
That's true. I think that would have been his second carry of this season after in his fourth game active. So I don't think the Chiefs are looking
got a carry?
He had a carry in one. I think in Germany he got one because Clyde didn't travel for that. So I forgive you. Some things get lost in translation, but including Keontae Ingram's name apparently. But that would not be ideal. No, L'Jarius Sneed would be tough. Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams. This is like a deep cornerback group, but it's also a deep wide receiver group that the Bengals are going to have. And I don't know, Mick. You've been proven right by doubting the Chiefs as of late, and it.
I can't believe they're a 7-point favorite.
It seems crazy. I think it might be down to 6.5 now, moving that direction.
Might be moving down to like
crazy.
4 after this Andy Reid presser.
If you don't have your second or third best defensive player and any of your running backs, that sucks. I mean, in a league where you can pretty much always find running backs.
Home, right, against a team that hates you and isn't playing bad. And it's a desperate team, a team that if they win this game, they will have a more likely than not chance to make the playoffs. I think they're at like 17% chance now. We jump up to like 53%. So they're playing for a lot. The Chiefs apparently think they already have this playoff thing wrapped up.
All I got to do is win one. Let's hear from Andy Reid, see who gets ruled out here.
The guys that will be out, Kadarius and Donovan will be out. Clyde didn't practice. Clyde has been sick here the last couple of days, so but making progress in the right direction. And then L'Jarius Sneed is still working through that calf, so they'll be listed as questionable. Look for the challenge of playing the Bengals. Good football team, well coached, and look forward to playing here in GEH at Arrowhead. No better atmosphere than right there in that stadium. So, with that, time's yours.
So does that say, they'll tell us that Isaiah has cleared the concussion protocol and will be ready for Sunday?
Yeah. So he practiced today, which is under part of that protocol. We have to see how he did after today, but just from talking to him out there, he did well during the practice. But we got to do there's more to it than that. So.
Clyde, you expect there's a chance he could play Sunday?
Yeah, I think so. We just got to get him through this. I mean, he's not feeling very good, but he's getting better.
We had a chance to talk to Spags about L'Jarius' season. Can you speak to that as well, the type of season he's having?
Yeah, no, he's playing real good football, all pro level. I mean, that's what he is. So he's doing a nice job.
McCole, is he going to be up on Sunday?
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, he's been repping in there, but we got to do the whole number count, and see how that goes.
If you're without L'Jarius potentially, it seems like he might be back. Just the confidence in that secondary group that I know, because L'Jarius has been kind of targeting the marked man there. How do you guys do?
Yeah, so it's good that they've all played. I mean, that's a positive thing. They've all got game experience, and so if he doesn't play, then we go with the other group. Great challenge, no matter if he plays or doesn't play. Great challenge to go against some real good receivers. Yeah.
Andy, it's always adjustment going against defenses that move throughout a game and adjustings, but Lou particularly the way he adjusts to him. What's it kind of like, that back and forth chess match?
Yeah, no, that's an enjoyable part from the coaching standpoint. He's a really good defensive coordinator. Has a great scheme, and he is a good adjuster. So you gotta work within that, and stay on top of that part.
And you guys are always juiced up for any game, obviously, but with this game being the Bengals, a very hyped game, you feel there's a little more hyped upness for the team in this one?
Yeah, listen, I mean, two good football teams playing each other, so I think there's a history. We played each other here now how many ever times, and over the last couple of years, so it's there's that history with it.
There's been some trash talking this week, particularly from the Bengals sides. Last year there was a little bit of trash talk from a couple of your guys. Was that ever a message this week about just trying to stay above board as far as this game goes? And
yeah, I mean that I don't get into all that. I don't know. I mean I go small ears and let's go play.
Any words for Missouri tonight? Chicago.
Yeah, go Tigers, baby. Love the Tigers.
One last thing. You might have to dig deep into your running back depth on Sunday. What have you seen from P. Ryan and those practice squad guys if you need them? That maybe they can help you out?
They'd be fine. They'd be fine. I don't think we're going to have to do that, but they'll be fine.
So you're expecting at least Clyde or Pacheco to play, or maybe both those guys?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But if we have to go with the other guys, we're good there too. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, a quick exit there from Andy Reid here on Sports Radio 10 WHB.
Last week, I think he went 37 seconds. Was that right?
I had it as approximately 40, so
Yeah.
I trust your count there. The fastest Fast Friday on a Saturday
This was
ever.
like 3 minutes.
James
or something
Palmer
like that.
was in there. You heard there's some national heat, some real follow-up questions. Yeah, I think the media wanted to get. I think this week and last week combined equaled 1 or 2 average Fast Fridays.
Bounced out.
Say again.
It balanced out.
It
yeah.
did. It did.
3 minutes plus 37 seconds, right? A little under 2 minutes each time. That's what he is.
He saved a little bit of time by just leaving one of the letters off for GEH at Arrowhead.
Saved him a nanosecond. He's not the only person who pronounces it that was just going to drop that A.
Chris Jones, I think, has the most famous alterations. I think he's gone both GEH and, of course, Geehaw. Clark Hunt went GEH a few times early on. Yeah, I think he's gotten that cleaned up. But
you know it's taped up there on the podium.
Is it really?
For the players. It literally says the name of the stadium is GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium.
I haven't been out there long enough.
They signed this deal with an entity that nobody had really ever heard of.
Correct.
Right? It's government health insurance with just the most awkward name.
You know what they need? An edible mascot.
Pop-Tart Field at Arrowhead Stadium.
Oh, don't tempt me, Mick. Don't
Let's
make me know what could have been. No, it's fine. Just get a government.
We call that the toast. Instead of Arrowhead, it's the toaster.
Oh, the toaster is so good, man. That deal probably only goes for like 10 more years, so I can, next stadium or whatever, we'll figure that out. When the Royals move downtown, the bases can be little square Pop-Tarts. That's a great idea. Kadarius Toney and Donovan Smith both out. Mostly good news aside from that, though. Snead being questionable, and I think he was also insinuating that Clyde would be listed as questionable. Didn't practice today or yesterday, so I think him getting out without a designation would be weird. But no Kadarius Toney, so maybe that's a spot where McCole Hardman, they'll have to figure out the numbers game. We'll get to that. But Donovan Smith will be out, so Wanya Morris will start again. Clyde out again today, but he sounded there towards the end like he expects Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire
Sounds
likely.
like both will play, yeah.
Likely both play. Now, the question there, I think, from Teicher mentioned P. Ryan. Again, P. Ryan is on the active roster now. He essentially has Jerick McKinnon's spot. So the practice squad guys in this case would be Deneric Prince, who I don't think they can call up anymore with standard elevations, and Keontae Ingram, who they've not called up yet. But Andy Reid said they'd be fine if they had to, but they probably
max
won't.
Is 3, is that right?
3 standard elevations is my understanding, and I believe that P. Ryan and Prince had both had those, which is crazy because Prince did not take an off. I don't know that Prince took an offensive snap. I know he didn't have a touch.
It's not like options in baseball where they can bring you up 25 times in 1 year, and that counts as one option, right? You can make the trip from Omaha to Kansas City and back 25 times or more, whatever. And that's just one of your options.
I think that's basically like the only tangible restriction on the practice squad now being like a roster extension.
Mm-hmm.
Other teams can poach your guys, and you can only call them up 3 times before you start. Got to give them real game checks.
Yes,
active roster.
These guys can't live
checks.
here forever.
No, you gotta give them a spot eventually. But encouraging on the running back front. Sounds like McCole Hardman has been out there. I think he was a full participant. You don't have to. I think they do have to give a designation. I think he was a full participant this entire week. So it would definitely be an opening to have him return.
He said it'd be a numbers game.
But yeah, so he said numbers game, and so that to me means roster spot, which is a question because you put McKinnon on IR and bring up P. Ryan, that's easy. Justin Ross got Sky Moore's roster spot, I think. So that's receiver for receiver. Yeah. So if they do bring back Hardman, I don't know. Montreal Washington doesn't get called up when Hardman is back, I'd imagine. He also might have been his third last week. It probably was, actually. Well, he ended up on the active roster for a second, too, Montreal Washington.
He was my favorite punt returner.
I know, sure-handed and not going to completely give you a hard tack each time. Yeah, that seems good. But so I'm not sure what the corresponding move will be unless it's to put Kadarius Toney or Donovan Smith on IR. But at this point,
Hardman took his number 12, correct? Yeah, he was number 12.
Hardman was set. Hardman has Washington's 12, yes, because Richie James has Hardman 17, and the dominoes go. But yeah, so more good news there than I was anticipating, I suppose. But there will be a numbers game to get McCole Hardman back. How does that change your feeling for Chiefs Bengals?
It doesn't at all.
I didn't think you would.
We're doing our predictions now or later. Okay.
Walk me through now. I listen. Jason's not here. What if we do the predictions a segment early? Because I want to talk about the bowl games that have happened and that will happen with you next. So we're here in Chiefs land now. Explain to me where your lack of trust has led you in this football team. Well earned, by the way. I'm not saying it's a poorly earned reputation.
So I think I've completely turned the page from. Man, this is a really good offense, just making mistakes, and the ball's bouncing out their way. They get rid of the mistakes. No, I don't know. It sounded like Cosby there.
It sounded like Bill Cosby. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
To this is just a below average offense that doesn't really do anything well. Right? They can't run the ball well. They throw it 75% of the time, yet can't spring a run on anybody. Cannot surprise anybody with a run. I think we've overestimated the talent of the offensive line. I was high on the tackles longer than most, even with the penalties earlier in the year. I'm like, listen, and the stats are showing it. The analytics are there. Mahomes is getting more time in the pocket than he's ever had, and I think it's due to those tackles. But the penalties have stacked up, the lack of production, and then last week was just Olay blocking by the entire offensive line. Yeah. So I'm soured there. Obviously, the receiver room is an absolute mess. I think Travis Kelce has checked out of football. And Patrick Mahomes is playing his worst, having his worst season by far of his career in the NFL. So that's where I'm at on the offense. Turn the page to that.
Chiefs 17, Bengals 10, or
21-13 Bengals.
The place that resonates the most with me at this point from everything that you just said is that at some point we're just fooling ourselves by looking at the shiny thing. Like, well, Matt and I were talking about this back at 11.
This shiny thing being the Lombardi?
That we should keep looking at that. I do like looking at that shiny thing. But looking over here and going like, oh, well, the Chiefs offense, look at this play where everything works. Look at this play where the offensive line blocks, Mahomes keeps his feet in the pocket, Justin Watson gets open downfield, bam, look at that. That team can win a Super Bowl. But that team shows up like 3 times a game.
Well, and that's what bad teams are.
That's exactly right.
Bad teams make that excuse.
That's exactly right.
Bad teams say, we're just a couple plays away. And they are, because this league is so close. But that's what bad teams do. The Jets offense, right? You can find 5, maybe 3 minutes worth of highlights of the Jets
maybe
offense
all against the Chiefs.
Year. Right,
exactly. The Jets offense against the Chiefs look good.
And so everybody has those moments. This Chiefs team, this Chiefs offense of the last 5 years has not had moments. They've had their moments have been moments of like, a drop pass, or they punted this possession. The consistency has been greatness, and so we're watching. I mean, I've detached this 23 offense from the other ones beforehand. We're watching the Chiefs of 2023. I know a lot of these same guys were on these offenses before, but it's totally different. It's a different offense. It's a different year, and they are way different results.
The consistency part is my favorite way of looking at this now, because this is just a record I have I'm constantly spinning, I guess, because I use it across sports and across teams, but I found it to be more and more true, specifically in pro sports. You are not your best moment or your worst moment. You are what you are the most consistently. I mean, that Joe Flacco would be the funny one to use, but except right now he's just straight up on fire, so I can't even use him for this example.
yards a game.
Zach Wilson has 10 throws in his career that if you look at, you would be convinced he was Patrick Mahomes. 10 of them, we go, oh my goodness, get this kid on a competent team with a good offensive line, and he has 10 throws where he looks like the worst quarterback who's ever lived. And he's neither of those things. He's both of those things and everything in the middle, and everything in the middle is a lot closer to the bad side. The Chiefs' defense is legit because they've consistently been legit this year. The Packers get them a little bit. Well, that's on the low end for them. That's not what they are. They're the entirety of the whole picture. But the Chiefs, offensively, that whole picture is ugly.
It is, and unfortunately, in this day and age, having a great defense doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah.
But the Jets are up there. The Chiefs are second. Browns are first.
The Browns just needed a great defense until Joe Flacco was ready.
Yeah. And now they've got everything. They have Superman and a great defense. The Jets are. I think are the Panthers like a top 5 defense? Somebody
I
else
don't think
really,
so. There's some crummy.
really crappy is up there with a top 5 defense.
What was your score again? I didn't write it down.
21-13 Cincinnati.
21-13 Cincy. Dylan, you gave a little bit of a peek into how you're feeling with the Jamar Chase comments, and is this going to be an instance where the Chiefs actually answer some trash talk, or is this just a weaker target that Jamar Chase is going to tee off on here, not knowing about L'Jarius Sneed yet? Where are you at?
I just think it's going to be a very boring football game. 15-14 Chiefs.
Whoa!
We will get a
okay.
safety somehow.
Is that could that be a scoregami, I wonder? Nah, we probably had 15.
Probably had it before, but I like 15-14 with a safety and a game-winning Harrison Butker field goal that we would actually be stressed about again because
he's missed the last 2 games.
He's missing them again. That's no good. I can't remember what score I have said previously, but I'm going to keep it nice and low scoring. Oh, I can't go any higher than that because that would have the Chiefs covering, and I don't believe in that. I'm gonna go 17-13 Chiefs.
Okay.
I feel like this is a 30-point game, not spread, total. That's just where this feels like it should
like
be.
an Iowa football game.
But the other thing that's so frustrating is the Bengals just gave up 34 points to George Pickens and Mason Rudolph. Yeah. That happened last week. Mason Rudolph Christmas week, his nose was glowing, and George Pickens was Santa. He had a Randy Moss stat line. It was 4 catches for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'm telling you, the backup quarterback, preparing for a certain quarterback is a thing. And it doesn't matter if the backup is, several levels worse than the starter, which they often are. You're not prepared for that style, right? You should handle like quarterbacks in the NFL like you do pitchers now in baseball. Which, once we get through the order, we're bringing somebody else in.
Bring in a closer, bring in Browning for the third.
We got a starter. Yeah,
I like that idea.
Or an opener, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe this is what Spags was talking about yesterday when he tried to convince us that he could not tell the difference on tape between Jake Browning and Joe Burrow. Maybe that's an advantage. They are so similar that the Chiefs can just prepare for Joe Burrow and they'll be fine.
What are their heights and weights?
That's a great question.
I feel like Joe's a little taller.
I think he may have said a
Browning's
little bigger,
faster. I think. Got to be.
Okay, Jake Browning is 6'2", Joe Burrow listed at 6'4". So, a couple inches. Joe Flacco, 6'6". What an absolute unit.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit. That's exaggerated a little bit.
It's just what
fudged a little bit.
Just what Google says.
Look, yeah.
Are you afraid of the Browns now, by the way?
No, everybody.
On the Chiefs' behalf, I guess you'd be afraid. You're afraid of the
everybody.
Raiders. That's true. You'd be afraid of the Browns.
The Broncos, the Raiders, the Packers.
Easton Stick next week.
Stick.
Man, they could legitimately play at home on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve with 2 chances to win the AFC West
and ruin both
of them. They could ruin both of them. And I'm not getting out of post game on New Year's. So
the Chiefs are going to win the West, but it's going to be totally backdoored, right? Where like the Raiders and the Broncos both lose, like
and they
Chiefs, all tie, all 3 tie.
They all tie, and then the Chiefs have to play a full effort game against Easton Stick's Chargers, and I'm going to be Easton Stick. Yeah. That's where we're going to end up.
I think if the Chiefs tie this week, they win. They win it.
Oh, you're right. They would actually win with a tie. So maybe that'll be what it is. Yeah. Oh, that would be tremendously rewarding. That's exactly. I don't think I've ever done a post game show for a tie, so that'd be new, I guess.
What's the Chiefs' last tie?
It's a great.
For Reed. Reed hasn't tied here, has he?
I don't think so.
Early on?
Tell you what, here's what I'm going to do, Mick.
We're going to find that out.
I'm going to find out that answer during the break. And then when we come back, I'll give you the answer to that. And also, we'll talk about the bowl games a little bit more. What K-State showed last night before devouring a previously living mascot and what you can expect in the Cotton Bowl tonight. I'll talk about that with Mick Schaefer more when we come back here in the Zone. We've given our Chiefs predictions. We've heard from Andy Reid. We've got the injury news. Kadarius Toney and Donovan Smith both out against the Bengals. No one else ruled out just yet. McCole Hardman not ruled in just yet. But it sounds like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, L'Jarius Sneed, Isaiah Pacheco, McCole Hardman, all at least functionally questionable, if not officially questionable, according to Andy Reid. Mick Schaefer, sports director, KHHB 41, is with us still here. Hi, Mick. Thanks for sticking around.
Hey, thanks for having me. Love it. Love that it's Friday. It's Friday. It's my favorite. It's Fast Friday.
It's Fast Friday. It's a Friday. It's a holiday Friday.
What a fun week. We had the Chiefs on Monday. It was not a fun game, but you had football on Christmas Day. Tuesday, you had the Kansas Jayhawks. Wednesday, I had Oklahoma State playing. Last night, we had Kansas State, and tonight we get Mizzou.
I did not watch Oklahoma State on Wednesday because what I watched on Wednesday,
they played Texas A&M's JV squad,
was Christmas Vacation. That's what I did on
How
Wednesday.
was
it? I gave Jason my review. I gave Matt my review. I will give you the review again because I need to make sure that I am getting this.
Movies are made so much better now, right? The classics, we go back and watch 20 and 30 years later, like, okay, they're kind of slow in parts. Back then, they were great and funny compared to all the movies. Movies are made better now.
The last third of the movie, maybe somewhere in the second half, the pacing thing I think is a reasonable, it wasn't a laugh a minute in the back half. But it's a Christmas movie. Christmas movie, you're wrapping presents. You're doing other stuff. I'll spoil the end for my review here. This is firmly welcome in my Christmas movie rotation from here on out. The first half hour is cinema.
Oh.
Great. Man versus tree. Man versus Christmas lights, man versus family, man versus neighbors.
Man versus boss at work.
Man versus boss, man versus fire hazards, man versus attic. All of those hit great. The biggest laugh for me, I was watching it by myself. So, watching something by yourself, laughing out loud is different than watching with people. Right. Laughed out loud at the saying grace before Christmas dinner, turning into the Pledge of Allegiance.
So you'd never seen that scene before?
Not seen that scene. I had not seen it delivered that way. I don't know. I don't think I did not know it was coming, certainly. And everyone just going along with it.
Play ball.
Play ball, fantastic. Yes, I enjoyed it very, very much. I was afraid
Aunt Bethany.
Is that the old lady?
Yeah.
Oh, you said was
she was Betty Boop.
Betty Boop.
It's the voice of Betty Boop.
Which is just tremendous. There is so much in that. I had the IMDb page up at some point. I was going on that adventure. But yeah, I side with the neighbors. I side with
Right.
With the wife and daughter by and large. And I enjoyed it completely. I was worried that just not having the nostalgia of it might lessen the enjoyment.
Ellen and Audrey, you mean? Wife
yes.
and daughter.
I've only seen it the once. This is my first time through.
That's the best. Well, I don't know if it's the most famous set of a pair of Audrey and Russ of all the movies because they're all different actors every time.
And I didn't know
it's
this.
Juliette Lewis and it's Johnny Galecki.
I didn't know that. I did not know who they grew up into, and then I looked that up as well. But no, I enjoyed it very, very much, and it's now happily in my Christmas rotation.
Anthony Michael Hall was the original Russ.
Didn't know that either.
The second Rusty in European Vacation, people don't know this, is Blake Lively's brother.
Weird.
Much older brother.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did you see, I learned on Wednesday that there was a Vacation remake with Ed Helms.
It's amazing.
Is it good?
It's awesome.
It seems impossible that it would be good, but I trust your judgment.
It is better
considering that you starred in it
than European Vacation and Vegas Vacation, and up there with the others to me. Because the kids are
Gemstone's
so
kid.
funny.
Gemstone's kid is in it. I did not realize Gemstone's kid was in it.
Yeah.
He's fantastic
and
in
then
Gemstones.
Chris Hemsworth, great cameo with Leslie Mann. It's amazing. And then they've got the car, but it's a new take on the car. It's amazing. The new Vacation is hilarious.
The Vacation cinematic universe, obviously, I have just now dipped a toe, but I enjoyed it very much in all of the many, many years of berating, I would say. They finally paid off, and now I have also left both Matt and Jason speechless with Christmas Vacation references in these last couple of days now. That's been very, very rewarding.
Good to get you on our side of, people that watch movies.
And I don't know if I texted you this. Or
our side has like 7 billion people.
You've got a lot of people and a lot of movies, but I found out over Christmas that Fletch is one of Renee's dad's favorite movies.
Yeah,
so I've
we're
got
gonna hang
another. You guys should hang out,
Yep.
and I'll eventually watch that too.
He'll call me son afterward.
I think that would be nice. He doesn't do that for me yet.
I
but
don't need to
think
watch the movie. Literally at one point, I could quote it, the entire movie,
just like give the script,
start to finish.
And that's how we're gonna wrap up today's show. Mick, go ahead. You take it from here. Thanks for listening to the Zone, everybody.
That's the music to begin.
Do you want to have the opening, the opening line still? Not had practice enough. It's fine. It's okay. I didn't mean to
remember the old opening line.
That's okay. You got the sound. Let's talk bowl games. Not just the Pop-Tarts that died after and during and before and the many Pop-Tart lives we lost. But I said with KU, it felt like a chance to send off Jason Bean. We talked about the KU game already, obviously. But you can send off Jason Bean and celebrate the season that was. For K-State, you can do a little bit of season celebrating and a little bit of Avery Johnson and the future yet to come. I thought they delivered on both of those things. Really, you got some Cooper Beebe love and then Avery Johnson giving you some glimpses. What did you see from what K-State did there?
It's fun. I've been watching Avery Johnson, at least on film, since his sophomore year of high school. It's funny. Caleb Grill, who's now Mizzou's sharpshooter and formerly of Iowa State, heck of a basketball player. Avery Johnson was his backup in high school. Caleb Grill was an outstanding quarterback at Mays.
I didn't know that.
Right? And then Avery Johnson comes along his sophomore year, and he's had the flowing locks the entire time, right? That's going to be a staple. I think he'll probably have that haircut till he dies. And so you always know who he is. He was he's still so skinny, but he was even way skinnier his sophomore year. And then junior year, it appeared like, okay, they're going to be the team from the West that's going to play, what was Mill Valley. And so for 2 straight years, I saw him in the state championship game. And
how did those games go?
28-14 was the score both times. Mill Valley won both times.
Yeah.
Defense, Valley's got a great defense. Shut him down. But it's so funny. Like he was quote unquote only a 4-5 guy, right? And he had a couple receivers on his team. One was a 4-4. One was a 4-3 guy.
Good Lord.
One went to Syracuse to play at Syracuse playing. And they got zero separation from the defensive backfield. Huh. And I learned at that point the difference between speed, maybe track speed, and football speed.
Yeah.
Because a couple times both those games, Johnson got loose. We had a great game plan. I'm just like, okay, don't just squeeze the pocket here. Don't get to him. Don't create be gaps down, all that stuff. And so a couple times he gets loose both games, and it was electric. Right, just the quick change of speed, right and ankle, all that stuff. It didn't matter that he was maybe a tick slower than these other guys. They didn't have that.
Yeah.
Right. That was football speed, the quick change of direction, and you saw it last night on the touchdown run. I'm like, I've seen that before. That's what he's all about. That's what he can do. He had a huge jump from junior to senior year when it came to passing percentage. He didn't have it his junior year. Senior, he was a lot better, and he's going to continue to prove on that. I think like 10 or 12 incompletions last night. That'll get better. I think how K-State utilizes him will get better because I think it should be a lot more run game with him than we saw last night. I'm sure there was a spy on him that was employed by NC State. But no, he's electric. He's going to be a fun player. I mean, he's a 4-star Elite 11 quarterback. This is a guy that will probably get drafted. He's on that plane. He's on that that arrow's pointing in that direction. So they lose pretty much the whole offensive line next year. That's going to be a big question mark. DJ Giddens, I think, can be a star. I think talk about NFL guys. I think he can be a star. They kind of recruited above him. Maybe brought in Ward this year, and Giddens was better. And so that'll be good. But I mean, I was talking to my son this year. I'm like about it this morning. I'm like, K-State's always going to be fine. Because Chris Kleiman does what Bill Snyder does. He doesn't waste his time on 4- and 5-star guys from Texas and Florida that they have a 5% shot at getting. Mm-hmm. He's going to spend. They know what football players look like. They'll take a guy that's a step slower, right, an inch shorter, from a smaller town, often in Kansas, and they'll be like, okay, I'll turn that 3- or 2-star guy. We're going to turn him into something. And so they have a whole crop of guys that are coming up behind that. So they're going to be good. They're going to be challenged. And we talked about it last night when somebody asked me at the station, like, they said KU. Are they a contender for the Big 12 next season? I'm like, I think absolutely.
Yeah.
I think KU, K-State, Oklahoma State returns their entire offense. That helps. They made the Big 12 championship game this year. I think they're up there. Saw a really good Arizona team last night.
Yeah, no kidding.
12,
yeah,
right?
that was appreciate and really endearing themselves to Big 12 fans. I think. Right?
I think so as well. Just embarrassing Oklahoma and sending them out the door with a loss. That was nice. And so I imagine Utah's going to be good. I don't know the new 4 this year. Who's going to have the best year next year? Maybe it's BYU.
Colorado might not be good, but you will know them.
You will know them.
You will
That's
know
going to
of them.
bring even more attention to the league. We'll see what. Look, he's improved Colorado. We forget that he improved them.
That's absolutely fair.
Right. All the hype was not justified, and they brought most of it on themselves. But they were improved, and so if they improve by 2 or 3 games next year, that's a team that's going to it would be 6 or 7 wins. And so I think it is more wide open. I think it's obvious. This is the most wide open the Big 12 has ever been, just because there's no Oklahoma, right? Even in a down year, a lot of times you're going to default to like Oklahoma, right? And then you have your waves of Baylor was really good for a stretch there, especially with Art Briles, and Texas every now and then. You have teams like TCU, K-State, Oklahoma State will have theirs. But no Oklahoma. This league has the potential, and 16 teams. Are you kidding me?
It's crazy.
This is going to just be a wild league.
The Mizzou line for tonight, Missouri versus Ohio State, coverage starts at 6:30.
All over the place,
right
isn't it?
here.
It's 5.5 now?
I think it moved again since the last time I checked earlier. It is at 5.5 on DraftKings right this second.
Mizzou's going to cover that.
Mizzou's getting 5.5. To be clear, Mizzou is getting 5.5. Ohio State is favored by 5.5. KU or Mizzou money line
Nobody's
right now
buying this
plus 8.
Marvin Harrison Jr. BS, right?
I don't think they shouldn't be, because that would be crazy.
Well, what are we doing now? We're not like, not only are you opting out of bowl games, we're going to keep it a secret till the very end.
It doesn't make any sense.
He hasn't
to me.
been practicing. He's there.
He's there, and that's the thing that I guess adds some question mark. But I mean, it's a laundry list on the Ohio State offensive side. I don't know where you're looking now, but I agree. I mean, I think again, Mizzou as a plus 180 money line bet right now is like it. It's no guarantee, but it feels like a good bet for a Missouri team, and this is hard to handicap sometimes, but for a Missouri team that does have a reason to want to win this game.
I mean, look, I think this is a winnable game if it was played in October with everybody's starters,
That's a good
right?
point. Yep.
I mean, I'll maintain this is it's a very overrated league, the Big Ten, right? There's a lot of bad teams, you can clean up on, and so. I haven't been sold on Ohio State all year long. If you're Mizzou and you lost to Georgia by 9, LSU by 10, and you dominate Tennessee, right? You beat Florida, you have all these other wins. You beat a really good 9-win K-State team. Yep. Are you kidding me? Absolutely, it's a game they can win when everybody's at full strength. And I've seen so many of these games we're seeing JV rosters out there. I mean, Texas A&M had 49 dudes. On scholarship suited up.
Unbelievable.
49. And so there is a legitimate big drop-off from the starters to the backups. And I get it. They could be 5-star freshmen. But we saw a 5-star freshman for Oklahoma last night turn the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, and basically a game-deciding fumble. Now I think Mizzou's going to win this game outright.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't, again... We're guessing to some level, I guess, but Ohio State fans, you beat Missouri in the Cotton Bowl, and you don't get to experience the playoff and all of that. Maybe you finish as something close to a top 5 team. Maybe they could be top, whatever. That is a blip on the radar of what Ohio State fans are expecting. Mizzou Cotton Bowl championship shirts are going to be like hard to get your hands on in Columbia. Like you are going to have a celebration with that. I enjoy a celebration when there are Pop-Tarts in the trophy. Like, I like that that's a way that half of the bowl-eligible team seasons end with a Gatorade bath and a trophy. That's fun to me. But this would feel like a huge win for Missouri.
I mean, the Cotton Bowl win, 15 years ago against Arkansas when Tony Temple went off. That's already one of the more storied games in Mizzou history. This one would shoot well past that. It's the number 7 team in the nation.
Yep. And then if Mizzou wins, where do they finish in the final rankings? Something Kleiman mentioned last night. Like, we wanted to be a top 25 team, which I hadn't really thought of entering the bowl game as the 25th team. Win that game, and you obviously certainly stamp your spot there. I don't know where Missouri lands if they win this game, depending on what happens above them, but it really, again, this would feel like an accomplishment, and I feel like sometimes that fact gets lost in the, it's just a dressed-up exhibition game. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's JV squads, but I think this game matters for Missouri.
I think it is too. I think they would jump up 2 spots at least, probably maybe depending on how Georgia, Florida State goes. The loser probably. Louisville losing to yet another third-string quarterback. This one for 7-5 USC doesn't help my case for Florida State's case or my case for Florida State there. But we'll see what happens with that one. But I think like a top 7, maybe 7th, something like that, 6 maybe. It just bodes well for going into next year. Like Aaron Ladd last night, we got him down in Arlington, and he tagged out with looking ahead for this Missouri team, one that has college playoff aspirations for next year. And at first it sounds silly, but then you're like, nope, they would have been firmly implanted in that this year.
Yep.
And a lot of years you would have had a K-State in there, and a lot of these other teams. That's the cool thing, because there's this kind of the second tier of college programs out there outside of the Georgias, the Alabamas, the Clemsons, or whatever. The ceiling is like a top 10 finish, right? For an Iowa, an Oklahoma State, and now you're in the top 10, you're in the playoff, right? Yep. That's the cool thing. You're part of the party. You have a chance. And so it brings in, and that second tier is huge, by the way.
Enormous,
right?
yes, absolutely.
It's 30 teams or more. And you invite all those teams to the party. I can't wait.
Yeah,
Can't wait for college football next year.
I'm with you. I know that there are pros and cons. Like there might be drawbacks, whatever. But the idea that you now have, I think that's a great way of putting it. That second tier of college football now all gets to say, once we're in the playoff, anything can happen. Yeah. We can beat Bama. You might not, but we can. Like that. That is a fun addition to the
sport. I think, and people have said for years, like, well, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be Alabama and Georgia and all those, blue bloods at the top. And to that I say, like, okay, fine. Are you saying the better teams are going to win more? That's fine. But I think we believe that those teams aren't going to be upset just because we've never seen it. Yeah. Because we've never had the opportunity to see it. There's never been a 1v8 game, right? Never been 2v7, something like that. We just haven't seen it. And to think that this sliver of football and all the levels from NFL all the way down to high school, this sliver of football, granted there's, 5 or 6 slivers of college football, is going to be different than all the others, where all the others you do have upsets.
Yeah.
And those big boys can be knocked off. To think that one's going to be different, I think is kind of short-sighted.
And look, if the worst case scenario is that we watch a college football playoff that gives us a handful of good
and
games.
Chalk happens,
and
fine.
some chalk,
Great,
absolutely.
Let's go.
Great, then let's go ahead and watch this Georgia-Bama
more football.
The final, whatever, and let's absolutely. More football and hopefully more good football still, even if oh dear, the higher seeded team is better than the lower seeded team. Oh man,
when does that happen?
That's why I don't watch March Madness. I don't watch it.
Right.
I don't watch it because if I'm not getting a 16-over-1 every single year, it's actually not fun.
And again, are you not watching in September and October where there's a gigantic upsets every single week? And to think by December all these teams that it's all calmed down and it's all going to be the big boys winning. I think, like I said, short-sighted.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be short-sighted because I want to make sure we have time to hear the cuts today because there's one from earlier this week that's special and a lot of other good stuff that we've got coming as well. Dylan, do you like Mizzou straight up also? Mick and I are both going MIZ here. I know it's MIZ-KU for you.
COU, baby.
There we go. Jason's not even here and we're sleeping with the Tigers. We'll take a break, come back with the cuts here to close out this week of The Zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I mean, you bleeped it, but I was
just flew.
Pretty sure I know what he said.
The large hole that a running back should go through.
Bass?
A large, yes, for fishing. What else do we have, Dylan? Not from the bottom variety. Ow! This hardware enthusiast was all about making houses better before he found his true passion, writing smash hit songs, touring the world, and dating Travis Kelce.
About Tim the Tool Man, Taylor Swift.
Bang!
Nice job.
From downtown!
I was listening. He didn't get the next question, which you were giving him the answer.
I know. That was disappointing, but he was so confident in the pun name game, which is what I need. Confidence in people who get it, like you, Mick.
I compete in Star Wars trivia I could do it for a living.
Very confident. I think he also got the sports question wrong, but he got the Star Wars question.
Hey, this is straight up. Crid's a loser. Christopher, he's a winner.
Crid. I like Dylan. I can help with the whole Chris Crid thing.
Christopher would be fine.
Dilemma.
What I have read about E.T. is that he never phoned home.
No.
He didn't. That is, I understand why they say based on a true story. Oh. And he did come from Uranus. Dylan, what'd you learn?
Yeah, the theme this week. I didn't even think about that.
Stuff Jason said.
Was a boner.
I wouldn't have said that even $400.
I know.
Wasn't worth the cut. Jason said a lot of stuff this week.
Sean Payton has, in fact, informed Russell Wilson that Jarrett Stidham is the starting quarterback the final 2 weeks.
Yikes, man. Let's stop on the streets in Denver. That's cold.
We broke the news to Cynthia Freeland.
Oh, wow.
That Russell Wilson had been benched for Jarrett Stidham. That was her breaking news reaction there.
I am a degenerate and a loser. Not again. Strike me down.
Jason's voice sounds different from Louisville.
Yeah, the distance and the effects on it and everything, but I do like when he pleads with God to strike him down. That's one of my favorite.
Well, he's on
recurring
East
bits.
Coast time, so he kind of sounds like a New Yorker there.
That's exactly. He picks up the accent. So that's his voices and all. You know how he is.
It's only suiting, you know. I don't think Coach knew I was from Charlotte, you know. So.
It's Jair Alexander.
So you just did that on your own.
I mean, it was like the guys backed me up, you know.
That's
pretty obvious what I'm asking for.
Pretty obvious what I'm asking for.
What'd I do?
What'd I do? Maybe the funniest suspension in NFL history.
Yeah, it is.
He got suspended for calling the coin toss when he wasn't supposed to be out there, and then he did it poorly.
It's only suiting, you know. I don't think Coach knew I was from Charlotte, you know. So.
I don't think you knew what the word defer meant, so we've got some issues.
I still don't think he knows.
No, I don't think he real. I would love to have known what the conversation was like. Hey, we're suspending you for what?
What'd I do?
We don't think you can beat us deep. We're going to dare you to do that. and they triple dog double dared them, and the Chiefs were there sitting with their tongue on the pole. There you go. A little Christmas for you.
I don't think he did it on purpose even.
Raunchy last few days of the year for Jason.
Raunchy.
There's a point in time things are going well. Had a few pops where I'm not going to say no to anything. Sounds about right.
We record these, and sometimes it really comes back to bite you.
You should just let him know that when he strikes out, all of his dead relatives are watching. I used to tell my kids.
Dad of the year.
Let's deflate that football a little bit. See if we can't work on that groin a little.
Matt Derrick, frisky. What?
Man, this guy stinks.
Who was that?
Dave Merritt talking about Shamari Connor in OTAs.
Was it OTAs that you noticed he might be able to do that? No, not at all. OTAs, I was like, man, this guy stinks. He can't go in the slot. There's no way.
I love Dave Merritt. The coaching staff, such good vibes. Not true for other faces. Jason, all I want to do is spend the day in your clothes. I don't remember saying that. Is that me? Is that AI?
AI, yeah.
AI is
makes
really
say anything.
After a couple of pops, I'll wear Jason's clothes. How we doing, Dylan? We got some more. Just rip one. Just rip one. Let's just hope we get lucky.
So I wish I'd gotten Jack in a little bit more. The game just didn't dictate it that way.
Oh God.
That's an old one too.
Come on.
Spags, man. It's Spags. You disappointed the show got so sophomoric?
Yeah.
Are you new here?
Sometimes it's 100% the winner just went out and did it. Sometimes it's a team pooped on themselves.
Whoa. Who was that?
That was Braden Gall. I don't remember what that game was. We're in some of the unplayed archives. Keep ripping them, Dylan.
Andy Reid, the greatest coach this franchise has ever seen, brother. We are the kings of the AFC West yet again. I cannot wait to hoist that Lombardi for a second time in a row, brother. We're going to win it for a third time in 5 years. I cannot wait. What a time to be alive.
What a time indeed. That's how you know that was a long time ago. Print it, make it, book it, sell it, division over. Brother, long time ago.
October when he thought it was won.
It was over in October.
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs tried to return it.
Now it's unover.
And it's unover now. Have any more, Dylan? Pick a little quickie. Just throw it. I played Jason talking about running through a big, wide open gap in the offensive line again. Mick, thank you for joining us.
Anytime.
Hope you had a wonderful Christmas and have a very happy New Year.
I can't wait.
Well, if you fix mistakes and you stop with the penalties and the turnovers, okay. It doesn't stop a player getting caught in a huge ass hole on 2nd down and 6.
Bye, Mom.